Howdy, folks. Welcome to Adventures in Alberon, our 5th edition D&D campaign. Joining me, I have Dan. Because Matt isn't here, it threw me off. Damn it! Dan, Hannah, Alana, and I almost said Shay, and Tina. Boy, Matt is going to be joining us a little bit later. He is working. He'll be back right around the break. This is an original 5th edition D&D campaign. We've been running for a little over 3 years. Actually, really, we're getting closer to 4. We're probably at about 3.5. So it's been going on for a long time. This is session 104. Welcome if you're just joining along. A couple of announcements before we get started. First of all, last night for Mosaic Team 5, Session 6, which I still haven't named, I was so busy, the longest date of all time. If you ever have like an hour left to live, just watch this episode because it's going to feel like forever. But yeah, the worst first date of all time. Bubs thought it went great, so that's good. But yeah, definitely check that out. Some time spent in Carfay and then heading off-world to Petrus 4, which is Gibbs' home world. If you like space, you like space westerns, check out Mosaic Team 5. It's a original Starfinder campaign with cowboys, bounty hunters, lasers, and aliens. That is every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on Twitch. We have a social media thing. It's Instagram, Twitter, all those different things, at Alberon RPG. It's a great place to be able to see some of the hand-drawn maps, painted miniatures, handouts, things that are really hard to see on these cameras. Additionally, we have alberonrpg.com, which is our website. There have been a bunch of big updates, a couple things for Mosaic Team 5, but for Adventures in Alberon and the Dungeoneer's Guide for Dominion, there's a pretty major update that pushes it to about 120 pages. There have been ecology sections added in for the Idlewild, as well as the Somber Cape. More information added into each subsection, such as like a grung, a grung merchant who has an entire grung-themed inventory that you could utilize or just draw inspiration from. There is plot hooks to bring people into the Agarog Spire, which is a on-keg sort of ant colony kind of thing in the Somber Cape. There's a million new things, and it's updating all the time. That's at Alberon RPG. Under the tab, The World of Alberon. And then finally, actually, you have stuff you want to talk about? You have your art?
Yeah, so
I'm gonna keep putting you on the spot
I know, I just like
until you get used to it.
Yeah, so I am an artist. You've seen my art here for Alberon. I did the art for Oakfeld, and we have some art coming up soon for Brenna. I also did my own art for Eleanor. But if you are interested and you like my stuff, you can check me out at Psychartist. That's PSYCARTIST. That's on Twitter, Instagram, and just like hit me up. I got funny stuff.
Send DMs. That's what we said last week. And then finally, we have Sirenscape for sound effects, music, various things like that. Sirenscape. Oh boy, this week. Sirenscape is a great digital tool set that you can use to inject sound into your life. And with that, we can jump into our recap. So, and hello, Talon. Adventurers without a name. Last that we played, Oakfeld, you in this moment of sort of self-realization and that's hard to argue. In a moment where maybe you draw more insight than usual, you had this idea that perhaps at times you were led astray. Led down into the dark, bringing your friends with you. You had a moment where you finally, after many, many weeks of wandering and being lost and disconnected from your kind, you truly connected with Melora, the Green Matron. During this time, the rest of you explored this temple, first carving pieces out of the massive tree that sprung up where Oakfeld sat, drawing blood from Oakfeld and the tree, carving your way through his body and into the temple above. You looked at some of these bottles full of different things, little gemstones and bugs, and you just left it all there as the glade was leaving, dove back into the hole. And Oakfeld, as Melora asked, or seemed to hint at you, where would you like to wake up? You decided that you would wake up somewhere a little bit more towards your purpose, after initially saying maybe Calypso's would be a good place, which was so exciting. But you transported magically, though not the normal move by plants that you, Shay, have experienced before. This was far more powerful and far more profound. Not simply moving from point A to point B, but feeling the world shifted around you, as if nature itself creating a conduit to where you needed to go. All of you came to this beautiful place in Dungannon yet again. A temple to some of the older gods, Melora, Soon, and a few others. You went back to the Dungannon Antiquities Collective, weekend at burying Akka's corpse through the streets of Dungannon until you flopped him down on a table. Mr. Gift waited with the resurrection stone you had all earned in your time in the Feywild, and using it, brought Akka back to life. Still without an arm, Drea and Glub decided that they would help and restore Akka's arm. Over the time that happened, Brenna, Eleanor, Shay, you all spent some time resting and talking. Oakfeld, you stole some stationery supplies and headed into town to found a religion, as one does.
A movement.
A movement. With one follower named Gifford, a stable mucker. However, that is something that you did. All of you then reunited beneath the Toufé Museum, where Eleanor engages the Hat of Disguise self for the first time to show you all what Brita Dawnkeep looks like. And if you could tell us what Brita Dawnkeep looks like.
I do. So as Eleanor kind of activates the hat, you see her skin turn. It's kind of like light grayish color, and it becomes dappled with like deeper, almost blue grays. Her hair becomes really long and intricately braided, goes down to about her knees, very dark. And her clothing becomes super ornate. Eleanor already had pretty finely tailored clothing, but we are like above and beyond. Everything is embroidered and super well tailored. She looks like a half orc, so her eyes are now a really piercing hazel, and she has bright orange red eyeshadow that goes all the way across.
Nice.
And so she cuts an imposing figure, and at her hip, where her rapier was, now a saber, similarly ornate, with a handle that looks almost like a spun conch shell. And then on their other hip is a strange hexagonal leather case. And you're not entirely sure what's in it. It's not like fully revealed, but it's hanging out there. She has tall, dark boots. And even though Eleanor has not changed in size at all, she feels so much more imposing. Like she takes up far more space than she did before.
Absolutely.
Cool. And then she's gonna try to use her actor trait to
Mimic the voice?
So I'm gonna try and mimic the voice of Rita Donkey. Alright, so it's an advantage because I've heard her for more than a minute. That was off the table. It's fine. It was terrible. Okay, so that will give me.
That's good.
25.
25.
Yeah.
What does Brita Dawnkeep sound like?
So, Ella kind of like turns to the group and is like, I am Captain Dawnkeep, Captain of the Wild Affair, and you all will know the velvet touch of my hand as you come under my control.
You see Mr. Gift, this kind of nervous person, almost seem to like steady a little bit. And he looks at this kind of, if I remember correctly, based on her class, she has a rapier and the other thing that you talked about today.
Yep.
Okay. So he definitely looks at this weapon at her hip. That's an interesting item. Very imposing, by the way. Where did she get that?
That, I don't know. It's unfortunately, as much as time I spent with her, I don't know a ton about her.
If you were to draw this sword, would that be accurate as a representation, or more just kind of a filled-in thought?
I could do my best shot.
Please.
Yeah. So Eleanor kind of like looks around and is like, do you have paper?
I believe I have. I'm gonna produce some paper.
There you go.
Cool. Like Eleanor is like,
I thought you meant draw, like.
That's kind of what I thought, yeah.
No, I don't think. Isn't it just an illusion?
Yeah.
So would it?
He doesn't know that.
I know, but like, would it like go onto the weapon, even though?
You gonna pull it out?
Yeah, I'll try.
Okay. What is your intelligence score?
My intelligence score is a grand total of 10.
Shing! Regular looking rapier.
Yeah, I'm like, alright, Fred.
Well, we can't gather too much information from that, but it is a sword of a certain kind, hailing from the Grey Sea, usually festooned with necrotic energy of some kind. Dangerous to be around. So, if you do intend to engage with this individual, be careful.
Oh, don't worry. Well, this might. She still looks like Frida, by the way. She hasn't.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
She looks like. She goes. Did you happen to hear anything about a tabaxi?
There is one here. You have a friend.
Yes. Where she is at the moment, couldn't say.
No, I mean in Nocturne.
There is a tabaxi in Nocturne. Amir, his name is, I believe. Sort of like a gray coloration to him.
We met him the last time we were in Nocturne.
Interesting. Okay. So, but yeah. I think, well, if we're gonna go to the Nocturne, I think the most important thing to let you guys know is that, Frida herself, she's not dangerous just because she's a captain, a fighter, has a crew. She kind of has this effect on people. She kind of makes it so she's very good at convincing people that what she wants is what you want.
Charismatic.
Oh, yes. Very much so.
Well, all the more reason to be careful. So you all intend to go get your ship.
I do think that would be the fastest course.
If it's still there.
That is a good point. I would go quickly if you were going to go at all. I would charter a cart or horses or something of that nature. It is close to a 2-day ride.
Alright.
Well, sounds like we should get moving then.
Yeah. Horses might be faster. Do you all know how to ride?
I have never materially owned a beast as such.
Cart it is. Alright.
I don't think I know how to ride a horse.
You've probably never really seen
I don't
a
think
horse.
I've ever seen a horse, no,
Yeah.
and I'm very small.
You've seen steeders for sure, these giant spiders that the Duergar typically will ride, but you haven't seen horses necessarily.
Brenna enthusiastically endorses use of a cart. Yes,
Yeah.
that sounds good.
Alright. So we're gonna finally drop it. Well, we have nothing else to do here.
Shall we then?
Do we want to go try to buy a healing potion or something?
Do you need a healing potion?
If you got any, that would.
Seems like the kind of thing that would be useful to have.
That's easy enough to procure. We have a fellow named Ogletree, typically, who is capable of making them out at the moment, but just a second. And he disappears into his office. Comes back maybe like 2 minutes later, holding 2 regular health potions.
Nice. This is great. Thank you, Mr. Gift.
Of course.
Okay, where do we go to hire a cart?
I would recommend the Red Shield Caravanserai. That is their primary function. It will be difficult to get a cart. People are trying to come and go quite a bit. And I know many of the carts have headed to the south to try to get refugees and bring them further to the north. But with some luck. Elsewise, it is probably a little bit farther of a day's walk, but you could make it to the Watchful Holdfast, which is where I would recommend spending the night if you do not intend to travel through. It's run by the Helmsguard. It is a fairly safe place. You may be able to find horses there if there is nothing in town.
Alright.
So off we go to the, what was it called again?
The Red Shield Caravanserai.
Yeah, off we go to the Red Shield.
Sure. You guys go. Mr. Gift gives you some pretty basic directions. It's not too far. You have to travel south through soon. An area that you guys haven't really been to too much yet. Give me just a moment.
That's right down, and I have the healing potions until we figure out where they're going.
Yeah. Figure out who's gonna hold on to
Give
them.
you 2, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a thing.
So you're gonna travel
Let's see.
across Sinoso to the southern border of it, and there you have to descend a series of staircases. It sounds like a sheer side of this mesa. And to the south, there is more land that you can see, kind of crossing a bridge. But right before you reach this bridge, which is called the Stain Bridge, Stayne, there is what looks like a. Man, the music is all over the place today. Come on, work with me here.
It's Cursed Friday.
It's what?
It's Cursed Friday.
Ah, yes, it is a cursed Friday.
Is today
Okay.
13?
No, it's like
It's the 8th.
No, I just decided it was cursed.
before this bridge, and at this time, maybe like 2, 3 in the afternoon, so plenty of traffic. There is a brick and mortar building, the sturdy roof. There's an entire tree that seems to have been felled to support this main beam. You can see just this massive beam that runs the length of the building. There's an iron double door which stands ajar, a few stone steps that lead up to a stone floor beyond, and you can see behind this little office of a building, there's like a 100 by 120 foot yard. There's like a barracks, animal pens. You do see a few horses. Within this office, which is 3 stories, this brick and mortar building, but the office only the first floor, you can see a halfling woman who is sitting down. She has these red sort of robes. Sitting at the table, you can see almost like emerald green eyes, and she looks over. Are you looking for a cart?
Yes.
Oh, please, come right in. You might want to bend your head there, fellow.
Oh, I can... And I'll transform.
Okay. You have regular size oak felt. That's quite a trick.
It is not a trick. It is who I am.
No, I don't mean any offense by it. I mean, it is quite a magic trick, after a fact. I appreciate that. I've seen some of that on the road to the south. Are you looking for a cart? Horse, something of that nature?
Yes. Yes, please. There are 5 of us.
5 of you. Easy enough. 1 cart will get you there. Where are you looking to go?
Well, ideally, we're trying to get to the Kotar Badlands, but I have a feeling that we can't. There's no other end to that one.
Well, most people won't go through there, but if you really need to and you have the coin, I could be persuaded. The Badlands themselves kind of looks at all of you. That's dangerous. How much are you paying?
How much is a card normally, like roughly,
Well,
plus or minus?
but that you would know?
Yeah.
Oh, it really depends on how far you're going, but really, for the distance that you are traveling, which is not to the Kotar Badlands, it's just before.
Yep.
Fair price might be like 80 gold, something like that. During normal times when the dead are not walking.
I say, how's 100 gold sound?
Make a persuasion check.
As they're doing this, is it easy for me to just walk up to the horses and just like touch them?
There's a door, it's open, you could just kind of walk through
Yeah.
to the yard. She's not looking at you.
I'm just gonna wander up and
Okay,
just
sure.
I got a 9.
A 9, okay. Well, 100 might be good for one way, but depending on where you're trying to get to within the Badlands, I have to make the trip back by myself.
Brenna's getting impatient, so she's just like, fine, 200. She pulls out her purse and just starts counting out the coins.
Oh, I like the way you negotiate.
Yeah.
200 I can do. So whereabout are you all trying to get in the Kuatar Badlands? And if I can just ask, nobody goes there who's looking for something good, so what are we going to face?
We left our ship behind there, so we just need to go get our ship. Can I like describe a little more specifically where it is to her?
Have you been to the Badlands?
Yes?
Briefly.
Just for a little bit.
Looks at all of you. Are you shitting me? I can't tell. It's a desert.
Yes. So, we've had a bit of a week, and it's a very, very long story, which we can regale you with on the 2-day trip there, but we really just need to go to the very beginning of the Badlands. We're not going very deeply in.
It's a natural one on her insight there. Well, you seem like a trustworthy person. 200 gold and cash. When do y'all need to go?
As soon as possible.
All right. Give me 15 minutes. I need to wrap up here. Kind of walks out. Where's the other one?
You can probably see me. I'm gently just nuzzling a horse,
Okay. You can
whispering
see
to it.
this horse seems to be a little bit injured. Most of the horses here currently not in the best shape, probably recuperating. So you pet this horse. Make an animal handling check.
Yeah. Uh, 14 plus 8, so 24.
Nice.
Oh, that's not 24. That's me being bad at that. That's 22.
22. Okay. That's still pretty good. That's not that bad math. You walk over to this horse and kind of stroke the mane. At first, it backs away. It has this shyness to it that makes it feel as if it's seen something particularly scary recently. And an element of that rings true to you. You've seen some scary things as well. And this very simple connection, you draw this connection with the horse. It kind of calms. You pull it in. This halfling walks out into the yard, kind of holding a ring of keys, getting ready to go lock up. She stops and goes, "You know, you're not usually supposed to walk into the back of an office."
I do not understand such customs. If an entryway is open, one must walk through it.
Are you from Mythelstrain or something?
And I'm going to ignore her, and as I'm touching the horse, I'm going to cast Cure Wounds on it.
Okay. It's a little different than times that you've done this in the past. Your hand comes out, and as you lay it on this horse, the horse seems to almost lean into you, and around you, suddenly, little bits of grass, little tiny baby green, begin to raise from the ground outside of the dirt and the muck that's around this horse. You can see tiny blossoms begin to bloom, and as the pollen drifts out, it settles into the wounds, and you see them close, almost stitching back together. The horse closes its eyes, seems to enjoy this genuinely, and she looks again. Okay, I know you don't like it being called a trick, but that's pretty cool shit.
I'm going to whisper into the horse's ear.
I know my honor.
Kind of nuzzles against you.
Eleanor kind of leans over to the halfling and is like, you just like this?
No, I kind of like this. This is nice.
So-
I'm going to lock up in just a moment. He goes over, you can see, locks 2 locks in the barracks door, walks over to the pens, goes over to another horse and kind of takes it out. This horse, much better shape. Looks pretty strong. Brings it over to a pretty simple cart. You may have been expecting like a passenger cart. This is very much meant for hauling goods. This is you guys on a hayride. She kind of looks at all of you and goes, "Now, you might have been looking for something a little bit more fancy, but at the moment, we have everything out south, trying to bring people north from the undead attacks, so we have to make do. I'm sure you all understand."
Oh, most certainly.
Excellent. Kind of pulls up on top and gets into this. There's 2 horses now kind of hooked into this cart. So, all aboard. Do you need to get anything? Or
We do sell food. I'm going to
Have we like prepared for a journey? I would just kind of
Aka
assume
has
that we.
supplies, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'm like, as long as that's covered,
Yeah.
we're like, all right.
We're good. Let's go.
Eleanor just kind of awkwardly gets in the back and just like sits down and then like pokes the hay and it's like, all right, well, I guess we're going.
You guys are all high-level adventurers. You just got off of a flying ship. Now you're getting on a hayride. Fantastic. I love it.
Brenna's
You
like
guys-
like trying to jump up and scramble, and finally has to be like, Eleanor.
She's like, reach my hand and then grab you.
You get into this cart. It's high up for you. She turns around for a second and goes, "By the way, the name's Kiara Bowcloak. Pleasure to make all of your acquaintances." She whips these reins and the horses take off at a very modest trot. They begin to go and, oh, excuse me. you guys begin to make your way out of Dungannon. Over the course of this journey, who's keeping watch?
I will.
Okay, go ahead and make a perception check for me.
Not terrible.
29.
29. Okay. You all begin your trip heading south of the city. It's beginning to get a little bit darker as you begin your trip right around 4 p.m. But you still have another 3 or 4 hours of daylight left. You imagine, listening to what Mr. Gifted said, if you are going to be pressing on, you'll probably be traveling for a number of hours in the dark, should you wish to reach the Watchful Holdfast. A little bit less so if you're trying to camp somewhere along the road. Just keep in mind. I'll let you guys know when you're getting tired. So you begin to travel. Give me one moment. At this time of year, and for Oakveld, you especially, there is a refreshing note to the air. This is the 30th of the clause of storms. Tomorrow marks the beginning of spring. As you look around here and there, you kind of walk and wish for there to be more green, and as you do, you can see small elements of the grass respond to your wishes. Nature responding to you in a way that it has not in some time. You continue to walk and continue to take this cart trip. Now drawing over the bridge and beginning to go through the countryside. Off to your right, you can see in the distance, especially you, Shay, with your perception check, what looks like crumbling remains of a structure up on like a hill or mesa. There's woods, old dead trees kind of crowded around it, and even from this distance you could see ravens everywhere. But that passes by off to your right. You travel another hour, another 2, and over the course of this trip, as it begins to get dark, are you guys doing anything?
I'm probably going to be carving probably something. I don't know what I'm going to be carving, but as I do that, I do want to talk to Eleanor.
This, Frida. Were you close to her?
Well, as close as you can be as a crew to a captain, I guess. But nothing crazy. It's been a couple of years.
Did you look up to her?
Now that's a complicated question. I'm not sure I can answer that, Oakfield.
We all have ones we look up to. I, for one, am trying to be more open to whoever one devotes their time to.
It's definitely noble. It's hard to be open to people. Put you in a vulnerable position.
If the Green Matron wants me to be vulnerable, no, if the oneness of all, if everyone I meet wants me to be vulnerable, for me to cast a smile upon them, to give them a word of advice, any sort of action, then I will be vulnerable in that moment for them.
At this point, Kiara kind of turns around and she's like, I'll take some advice.
Yes, what is it?
Well, no, I mean, you're supposed to give me the advice, right?
Oh.
She kind of turns to make sure you guys aren't hitting anything and then turns back to you.
I believe the best advice for you is these material beasts that you lord over. While it may be symbolic of a relationship of giver and taker, perhaps you should give more to them. More attention.
Whoa. She kind of cracks the rein and the horses stop for a second. She turns around and goes, you know you just bought these from me, right? Like, you're paying for this. I wasn't going to bring these creatures out for a ride today. You're enabling this. Just to be clear.
We, I own these?
No. You're paying for the rite of passage with these beasts driving you along. That's how we pay for their food. That's how we pay for their everything, really. You know, it costs money to take care of creatures.
In Oakfeld's mind, he's like, it's like trying to do like algebra. It's like, what?
He who does not work does not eat.
That makes sense.
I do not fully understand, but I think I'm starting to. I may not agree with it, but maybe if it works.
Everybody make a dexterity saving throw. Kira's been turned around for so long at this point. All of a sudden, you guys realize the horses. You guys kind of begin again. The horse is wandering off. You guys kind of hit a little bit of a rock.
17.
17,
22.
22,
28.
28.
8 plus 7, 15.
All right. Actually,
No.
okay. All of you guys. She's like turning around. You guys are talking. You guys hit this rock. Everybody is skyborn for just a moment. It's when you're sitting in the back of the bus and it hits a bump. You're just for a moment of hang time. You can see Kiara go up. The hair goes up. It's like this moment of pause. And then everybody lands a little hard. And she goes, whoa, and kind of like pulls the horses back onto the road. Sorry about that. What's your name, fella?
My name? I am Oakfeld.
Oakfeld. Look, Oakfeld. In the wild, these horses would have to take care of themselves, right?
I believe that is true.
They would have predators, right?
We all have predators in life.
But I take care of these horses. They don't need to worry about the predators.
I haven't thought about that like that.
And so they help me get places that I couldn't get on my own. Look at my legs. She kind of points down. She's like a halfling. They're really short.
But in your stable, did you not look at the leg of the one that was...
I'm just going to look down.
Never mind.
Are you talking about Bob, the one that you're touching?
What a beautiful name. Yes.
Eleanor's like trying so hard not to like break out loud at this point. She's just...
Thanks. She's named after my mom. Bob is hurt just from the trip. From time to time, you know, creatures that take a stumble. There are many stables in which they'll actually put a horse out of its misery, if you know what I mean. Not us. We try to take care of it. And thank you, by the way. And Bob will be right back on the old dusty trail before you know it.
What does put out your misery mean?
It means kill them.
But one does not have agency to kill nature.
I've done it once or twice. I mean, you know, it's not especially hard. They're usually already on the ground because of broken legs, and they just die slowly if you didn't do it, so...
But you just told me you would
Oakfeld,
take care of them.
I know you're not from around these parts.
But she said there's a relationship
Right,
that she
but-
takes care of them.
Oakfeld, right? What would happen in the wild if a horse broke its leg? Something would eat it.
Oh, well, true, but
not everyone has the means to solve these sorts of problems.
I can't do magic.
I do not agree, but I am open to maybe understanding more.
She's kind of looking ahead at this point, but she goes, well, Oakfeld, if you can make me do magic, I'll reconsider my stance. But I don't think I can do magic.
Very well.
You guys continue to travel.
Deep conversations with Oakfeld.
Right around 8 o'clock.
Look at this character growth.
It is becoming, it's quite dark. Clouds begin to roll overhead, not raining, but a little bit darker than it's been on previous nights. Shay, with your perception check, when it's still close to 1,000 feet out, you can see limestone plastered walls, tall walls, white, glistening even in the dark. There are fires kind of burning along the top. Torches, maybe patrols, you can see them moving. There is massive iron doors currently closed. As you get closer and closer, it is quite clear this is the limestone plastered Watchful Holdfast. It is a castle with 20-foot tall, 20-foot high walls. I did it. 35-foot tall towers with a pivot mounted ballista on each one of the corners. You see massive gates, roughly the height of the walls. And then were you to kind of sit 5 astride on horses, you could go through easily that way. Quite wide is this gate. At the moment, it is raised, although you do see elements of chains in the corners, so it could be lowered. You also notice, kind of even at this distance, you're probably now within 500 feet. It's dark, but from the torchlight, little glints from this thing. There are spikes along it, so they could very easily drop this on people. However, within you can hear voices. You hear just faint little bits of music, and as you get even closer, you can smell food. You'd imagine that this is the Watchful Holdfast. And indeed, as you kind of draw closer, Kira says, "Let me do the talking." Somebody up on top of the wall kind of shouts out, "Who goes there?" Kiara looks up and just says, "Just simpler travelers looking for a place to stay." You can see this person disappears, and then these huge chains begin to pull down, and this door slowly lowers. And through, you see a camp. You see a couple dozen tents, a number of different people kind of milling about here and there. You can see far behind that, there is the main keep of this Watchful Holdfast, used by the Helmsguard as a base of operations. And then in the southeast and southwest corners, towers. Where the gate is, and on the northeast corner as well, there are those ballista. And then you can see tertiary stable houses, maybe like 50 horses in all, kind of put. And for you, Oakveld, these are much smaller stables, very much like stalls for each horse. That being said, they are all well cared for. These are horses bred for war. They are mighty beasts. Give me 1 second here. As you kind of as you traverse your cart in here, Kira's going to turn to all of you. So this is where we're going to stay for the evening. I'm going to stay with the cart, stay with the horses, and you're free to mill about as you like, but you're welcome to stay as well. We're going to leave at first light, so get some sleep early.
Sure.
She begins to kind of go about setting up her stuff. What would you all like to do?
Does anyone want to just go? I don't know, mill about? See if anyone has anything interesting.
I'm down for milling about.
I will follow your path, Magnolia.
Does there look like there's a high place that's hidden enough that I can go nest there for the evening?
Yeah, on the keep. So the way that the torches are burning, it casts all kinds of shadows across. So no problem. Just make make a stealth check. The acrobatics is not a hard thing for you.
That is a 18.
Okay. You look about, and some of the more observant members of your party might just see Shay just dart up and disappear into the shadows above. But pretty quiet are you, Shay?
I'm gonna go to bed.
Okay, you do so.
She does that, yeah.
Okay.
She's like a bat.
I don't think I've ever actually seen her just.
It's cool, right?
Yeah. I wasn't expecting it.
There's about 50 people in all, kind of gathered in this space. You hear the bridge behind you being raised again. There are a number of tents, and in the area in front of the stables, you can see somebody selling wine. A woman about Oakfeld's height, strawberry blonde hair. There's another merchant next door. You can see selling some kind of maybe textiles or weaves, although very beautiful. And you can see this is an elf, probably from across the Emerald Expanse. These are elven silks. You can also see, make a perception check, whoever's leading this little walkabout.
I think it's you.
I think it's me.
There you go.
Am I trained in perception?
Only you can answer that.
Hooray. 15.
With the 15, you see that, and very unusual, less so in this part of the world than the Kingdom of Sarentil, but you see a tiefling. This tiefling, you can see, has warm peach-colored skin, full plate mail, enameled white with teal borders, and kind of matching that up, they seem to be maybe a guard here. You see other members of the Helm's Guard on the walls, nobody else amongst the group. You see him looking towards the keep. And for those of you, anybody have a passive perception of 18?
I have 20, but
You're
I'm
asleep.
not there.
Yeah, you're going.
I'm
You're
at
fine.
17. We're not.
I have 18
Where's
exactly.
the flash
18
of
exactly?
genius
Yeah.
when you need it? I know.
Okay, I know, right? With that 18 exactly, Oakfeld, you were one of the very few people that kind of saw the elements of Shay just run up the wall before she disappeared.
Mhm.
And you notice this tiefling seems to be looking in that same direction. But he kind of turns. You see one gold eye, one black. He holds a lantern, the small white candle. He carries on his back a sword that even in its sheath you can see emits just a little bit of teal energy from within. Definitely magic. But seeing your eyes, he just kind of nods to you. Kind of turns and continues on his path. Seems to look up at the keep every now and then, just keeping an eye. It is maybe 9:30 at night. So you guys have about an hour before you need to start thinking about settling in. Is there anything you want to do before going to bed?
I'm going to head over to the wine cellar.
Sure.
And then... no. Hello. Do you have any wares left over? I know it's quite late.
Plenty. We're traveling to Dungannon, but we're happy to sell. What are you looking for?
Just a nice bottle. Something to end the night with.
Oh, just the thing. And when you say end the night, you mean get very drunk?
No. I mean, we're also traveling, and it's going to be a few days of hard travel.
So something to ease you into sleep.
Yes.
Easy enough. She reaches in and pulls out, it's like a tiny little mini cask. Probably has about like 2 bottles worth of wine in it. I think you'll find this will be absolutely what you're looking for. Dark in nature, but sweet, notes of dark fruit, a little bit of spice on the finish. Just like a dessert after dinner. Kind of hands it over to you.
Sounds good.
2 pieces of gold.
That works for me. Then I hand over 2 pieces. May I bend your ear for a second? You said you were traveling to Dungannon.
Correct.
We were just coming from there. How are the roads?
Have you heard?
I know about the undead incursions, but I didn't know if there was a particular wave happening right now, or...
It is a constant thing, but there was a wave that hit Mudtown. That's where I'm from.
Oh.
Many undead. They forced most of us to flee. Those of us that could make it.
Well, I'm glad you made it this far safely.
Are you traveling south?
Yeah, ish. Is that what we're traveling to the south?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just like,
are we traveling south? I'm not actually sure.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Yes.
You really must be careful. There's not much to see. With Mudtown gone, Darkmoor has been quiet for months at this point. Dungannon's the only safe place left, at least outside of Sarentil.
I was afraid of that. All right. Well, we still need to go, but we've seen a few rounds of undead on the other. Well, we went to Dungannon originally, but I was hoping it wouldn't have gotten much worse.
From behind this tent, you just hear, "You think you've seen undead?" You kind of look around the corner. This guy has like 2 bottles of wine. He's like backed up against this. You can see balding, like big puff of gray hair, like mutton chops that go down to like this big kind of overall beard. But he has these bottles, and he kind of points one at you. You think you've seen undead?
We've seen a few.
You haven't seen anything.
Oh.
You haven't seen anything, and it like spills some wine at you. You haven't seen anything.
Okay. Easy
Oh.
there.
Do you have a tale to tell?
And like running down his face, he wipes it away. It depends. Breaks this glass. You have any more?
Alright, like we drink all the rest of the other one now. It's like, well,
Here, hold on. Brenna goes, hold on. She goes back to the wine cellar and is like, give me your cheapest swill that you've got, whatever you got, and she holds out a gold coin.
She takes the gold coin, kind of. Okay.
Just whatever.
She takes that and she pulls out 4 bottles of wine.
Yeah.
and hands
$2
it to
chuck.
you.
Great, thank you.
Yeah,
And-
this is it. And as you hold it, there's like little bits floating in it. This is like an unprocessed. This is like raw milk, basically, but the wine version.
So Brenna takes all 4 bottles and like kind of
They're
waddles
big,
back
yeah,
over.
for you especially.
Yeah. And she's like, here, is this enough?
Takes one, pulls the cork out, takes a big swig. Mudtown. It was bad. I've never seen anything like it. And the Mudtown alchemists have seen a lot.
oh,
We raise the mud. Nobody respects us. Nobody.
alchemist, you say?
Yeah. I'm an alchemist. So what?
It's a hard job.
So I can make my own wine. Maybe I don't want to. Just takes a big chug.
Hard work, toiling all day.
Not really. You can make all the shitty people do it. But, yeah, you don't want to go there. You haven't seen undead before. These creatures, they're fast. Too fast. They shouldn't be able to move the way that they do. And you can't hide. They can go through walls. Kind of sinks back in again.
Did you say they can go through walls?
That's what I said. Did I stutter?
I mean, a little, yeah. But when do you mean like phase through, or like just knock them down?
Phase?
You know, like
Pass through.
Phase? Phases matter. These are undead. They don't exist the same way as you do. Solid's phase, liquid's phase. Make a diplomacy check, please.
what is that?
Or sorry, Starfinder. Ugh. Make a persuasion check.
Yeah. It's not going very well. 6.
Like I'm the face and everyone else is making all the diplomacy.
I don't want to talk to
I was
you.
just asking a clarifying question.
Turns his back to you. The wine merchant goes, is that all?
Good sir, you wouldn't have happened to see dwarves with them, did you?
Turns around. Who's asking?
I am.
His eyes like really bleary eyes shift over to Brenna untrustingly. Fine. Yeah, I saw dwarves, so what?
So, we heard they had some pretty nasty magic with them. Do you remember anything about them?
Maybe a sword.
Sword?
Black.
Ooh.
Well, darker.
Oh. Darker than black.
Extra black.
Venta black.
Yeah. Not a sponsor.
Curse you. Okay. Like a void.
Yeah, like a void.
Oh.
Does that ring any bells for Brenna, the
For Brenna, no.
dwarf with the black sword? No.
But what I will say, the dwarf part, yes.
Well, that I know, but that
The black sword, no. That's unusual. You don't remember anything about that. But I will say, for Brenna, kind of already thinking about that, your eyes shift over to Akka, who's been pretty quiet up until this point. That dark blade, as it's mentioned, it seems to kind of draw his attention. Perhaps something to ask him about later.
When he's done eating his toffee apple, yeah.
Yeah, it's like really stuck
yeah,
in
it's
his
so
mouth.
chewy.
All right. Well, we've already seen some unusual events. We saw a giant undead skeleton. That was a new one for us.
Giant undead skeleton. That's not that bad. You ever seen something get inside somebody's chest and become real?
Not inside a person, inside an object. Yes.
They explode from the inside. You don't want to go there. We couldn't deal with them. A Stormborn couldn't deal with them. You, Toffee Boy, you can't do it.
Well, we'll do our best to stay safe, and I hope you have safer travels and brighter days ahead of you.
I'm getting out of Dominion. I'm going to Everest.
Hopefully, the undead haven't reached up there.
You should do the same.
We'll take your word with heed, but unfortunately, we still have business here. Have a good night.
Waves you all off, turns back and begins to drink again.
Alright, well, he's always something. So at this point,
I think he's got the right idea, honestly. And Brenna kind of like reaches up for the little cask and is like, "Come on, go on, let's."
The person running this weaving stand kind of leans out and goes, just in case you were wondering, the undead are in Everest. Not in the same way as here. This is dreadful, but we do have undead.
oh,
For what it's worth.
that far already.
I don't think they're connected. The undead are a universal problem, but your undead are like the worst undead.
Oh, is that by the Onyx Spire? The Onyx Tower?
Oh, you mean in Dominion?
Yes.
What are you talking about? Everest?
Yeah, it's Everest is the area outside Dominion. It's
Everest
not
is
related.
across the Emerald Expanse. It is a continent. It is the homeland of the elves, typically.
Okay, cool. Still like getting the geography.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
mentally,
It's
like,
an entire fake world.
yeah.
I don't know like real geography, so I'm expecting you to know the fake one. Yeah, but so Everest is across the Emerald Expanse, a beautiful glimmering green ocean. It's roughly 1,450 miles to the nearest part of Everest from the closest part of Dominion. Yeah, that's mostly what you would know about it. You know, it's far.
Okay. After the elf speaks, and like casually look over the wares. This is like all like pure textiles.
Make a perception check.
1.
Sure is.
Sweet. All right. Well, I hope your travels in around Dominion are safe with everything that's going on, and good luck.
I'm very lucky. I was not in Mudtown. But from what I've heard from all of these folks, I wouldn't travel there.
Yes. Well, you're heading back to Dungan? Or over to Dungan?
To Dungannon first, yes, and then to Dark Meadow beyond.
Dark Meadow is where we flew over?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Well, if you plan to go to Dark Meadow, it's been a little rough there as well. I would make sure you're well supplied. Last time we passed through, it was quite awful.
Well, I have a sale to make, so regardless as to whether or not I want to go, that is my destination.
I'm outside when they're having this conversation.
Okay.
I'm not.
This is all like out in a courtyard.
Yeah.
Kind of. So
I'm looking kind of where Shay was, but mostly looking at the moon. What is the moon right now? You guys look at it.
What's the moon do?
right now it is a 3/4 waxing moon.
I'm just gonna say to myself,
I do have a moon chart. Yes.
"Oh my god!"
So I built an entire calendar so that if we were to do a one shot in the year like 1570, I'll know what day it is. I'll know what I like consistency.
Ah. The lunar. the sister to the shrine. Not as much nourishing, but quite lovely.
I want to just think in my mind as I'm staring at this 3/4 waning moon. Waxing. Is there any arcana knowledge I have about creatures with one gold eye and one black eye?
You can make a nature, religion, or arcana check. Your choice. They will all yield different results.
Oh, fuck.
Surprisingly. That's an interesting one. If you go too low or too high, it's going to be different answers. So that's a good one. I like that.
I have
Don't mess it up.
0 in arcana, but I'm going to go for arcana because that's my first. And that's 5.
You think about this a little bit. Creatures with one gold eye, one black. You haven't thought or heard of anything like that. And then behind you, you hear this kind of heavy armor. And turning, you see this tiefling, peach-colored skin. Kind of sidles up to you a little bit, hearing your idol chat to yourself.
Yeah.
Are you a religious person?
I believe. Do you?
Well, I'm part of the Helmsguard, aren't I?
The Gnome's Guard.
Helmsguard.
Helmsguard. I'm sorry.
Helm, the Watcher.
I have
Vigilant.
not heard of them. Please, tell me everything about them.
Helm is a guardian. You can see he is fully prepared to talk about this.
He's got a spiel. He's like a tour guide.
He is often seen or depicted with one eye open and one eye shut. Those gifted from him bear a similar appearance. And he kind of points to his eyes. You see one black, one gold. Those in service of Helm, typically. But he is the Watcher. And that is what we do. We watch. We protect. What do you do? Who do you worship? Soon?
Do we notice that this is happening?
Yeah, it's maybe 10 feet off from here.
Brenna wanders over, intending to kind of supervise the conversation.
You're the mom who's at a party. And you're
Just
like,
kind
oh
of
shit.
wandering
Run
over,
over
just
your
gonna
kid.
insert myself in here.
You see your kid getting close to the grill, and you're
Yeah,
like, oh.
exactly.
Sure, yeah, no problem.
I am born to follow the Green Matron, and while I still believe in her, I believe all beliefs now have weight. We must love the believer.
Eleanor's gonna wander over at this point. They're just seeing Brenna go over and be like, got nothing else to do.
He nods a little bit. I can appreciate that perspective.
Pours a glass of wine for Brenna.
I wish more people thought like that. My family, I grew up in Port Quinn in Sarentil. My family really didn't understand the idea behind this faith. It wasn't about a religion or a church. It kind of gestures around. Don't get me wrong, I love all this. I love what I do. But this idea of following something more, being connected. I wish my brother could have seen that. He kind of shakes his head a little bit. What are you here for?
Brenna says, we're just passing through. Good night. And she kind of takes Oakfeld's hands and Brenna says, now's not the time to spread the good word, friend. I think it's time that we go share this wine together.
As I'm being carried away, I'm going to say,
May Helm watch over you.
He turns to you and nods. May your gods or goddesses watch over you.
As Brenna leads Oakfeld back to where they're going to be resting, she goes, have you ever had wine? It's so good. You should try it. She hands him a cup.
Is this the rotten smell of the apple tribe that I once smelled when we were coming on the ship?
This one is grape.
It's different. Maybe never mind.
I'm gonna just put it up to my nose and just give it a smell.
Smells like wine, but pretty vinegary wine. This is not a high quality drink. Not that you would know that.
We're in the middle of nowhere during an undead apocalypse.
This is your wine, right?
No, this is the cast
The
that.
cast.
Okay. Never
No.
mind. This is a very.
I gave
different
the
spirit.
terrible stuff to the
Okay, yeah, the drunk guy.
man who
So-
didn't want to talk to me.
You know what? Terraston really has his own things going on. So, for you, Oakville, this wine is, as you smell it, yes, there are elements of it that do remind you of age and fermentation. Those can mean good and bad things in nature, but the smell of this, you smell plum, you smell leather. There is an inviting aroma to it, but inviting in almost a dangerous way.
This tastes like, or smells like, what you make, what you humanoids struggle every day in your... This is not from nature anymore.
Agreed. It's like food, you know.
You see a big driving force of us humanoids is we like to take what occurs in nature and kind of put our own spin on it, and wine is kind of one of those things. Different families have their own recipes. There are different regional differences.
So it is like a custom.
Yes.
I suppose if I am being vulnerable, I should be vulnerable to this.
Try it. It's not for everyone, but if you would like it, you're more than welcome to share it with us. I bought this for us to travel with, so...
I don't have a cup, so how do I...
Eleanor's gonna just take some of her, I'm gonna assume I have a cup of some form.
Yeah. You have what did you pick as a starting supplies? Did you pick the Dungeoneer kit? Did you pick the?
I think I just picked the Traveler.
Yeah. So you have cups. Yeah.
Yeah, cups. So I'm gonna pour you a cup
Okay.
and I hand it over to you. And it's don't drink it too fast. Take a little bit, see how it hits you.
I'm gonna first instinctively stick my fingers into it. Because that's how a tree would,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Acceptable.
And then I'm gonna just take them out. And then I'm just going to just put the fingers into my mouth and just suck.
You hear the sound of Oakfell taking his first drink. Oakfell.
Man, now you're a man, Oakfell.
Oakfeld, it tastes. So at first you feel this burn on your tongue, and you kind of recoil. Fire, not a good thing. But the warmth it provides, not fire. It's like the warmth of the sun on your branches and leaves, but inside. Skipping that process of photosynthesis, just giving you energy right away. There is something very powerful to this. And it tastes quite good.
I think I'm gonna put the cup to my lip and I'm gonna drink a little more.
I think I enjoy this.
Yeah, man.
See, now another cultural tradition is that you share these sorts of drinks with friends, and you chat, kind of hang out a little bit.
It's not like going in a whole different direction. I think another cultural thing, taking out rubber tubing and syringes.
Red Solo cups.
First drink,
Eleanor
first heroin.
Eleanor at this point is okay, he is essentially a small child, We have a small tree child.
You have baby Groot.
Let's take this slow.
And you gave him alcohol.
Yes.
Which he ate very much like a child. So you know what? That all tracks. That's good. I like it.
Fine.
Consistency.
I'll also pass a cup over to Akka to be like, for whenever he's done with the toffee, to join us if he wishes to.
Are we
You can
back
see
at our little?
He's done with the toffee. He's just kind of brooding off in the corner, as he does. So you guys can kind of be
back
back
at our
in
little
the
like
area.
camp area. So I think Brenna is gonna like polish off her cup of wine or whatever and be like, "All right, I'm hitting the hay," and just kind of curls up and goes,
Have to sleep.
"Get it?"
Literally. I'm sorry. Sorry.
So you all settle to sleep.
Yeah.
Okay. No problem. You can all mark off a long rest.
Probably did.
Yeah.
We did
No
so
problem.
much.
No problem whatsoever. Alrighty. One moment here. Is this what I'm looking for? Let's find out. Yeah. Why not?
The chat wants to know if trees get drunk.
Trees get drunk if they drink enough. Yeah. For what it's worth, Oakfeld is not a tree necessarily. He has human biology. That's why he was able to drink with his fingers. So yes, Oakfeld can get drunk. Can a tree get drunk? Probably not. It's things that affect your brain. Trees don't have brains. So, sorry to ruin the magic. So,
We'll find a way.
you all come to early morning. The clouds have kind of descended. It is a gray day, very foggy. But one of the first truly kind of spring feeling days as the calendar ticks over. From the claws of sunsets, I believe, to the melting. The very first month of spring. Through the thick fog, you see people moving about, kind of breaking camps. You can hear here and there the sounds of horses trotting off and people kind of going about their business. You see fewer guards along the walls during the day, a few more kind of on the ground, going about other kind of castle tasks. But as you guys come to this morning, what do you guys want to do?
I'm just gonna look up to her like. Actually, she has no idea where she went. She just knows she went up. So she's gonna like look around up to see if she like see Shay anywhere.
Okay, yeah. Make a perception check.
No.
Decisive. 8. With an 8, you kind of look up and immediately somebody bumps into you kind of through the fog. You just hear, "Oh, sorry." And they just disappear. In the fog, no chance. You don't see Shay.
Once she is awake, though, at an opportune time, we'll drop down.
Sure. Wait for a moment when the fog is thickest and just kind of drop. Eleanor, maybe 10 feet away from you, the fog, and you just see Shay land. Quietly, 3-point superhero landing, and then it settles back around her.
So cool. Good morning.
Morning.
And I guess if we're all together, I think it's time to move on.
Indeed.
Kira's back over at the cart. You can see just kind of getting the horses ready, stroking one of the sides of their heads. But if you guys want to, you guys can get right on going.
Are there any like different merchants out today?
Not yet. It's pretty early, so
Yeah.
people are kind of breaking. You would imagine people sort of come in here at night. This is really a stopover point into and out of Dungannon.
Okay.
And especially with that perception check, not a
Yeah,
chance.
nah.
Yeah,
All right,
no.
let's move.
So you guys climb on board and begin heading south. It is only half a day's trip further to get to this point. In the fog, not a lot to notice. You do from time to time kind of see people either heading in the same direction as you or at one point, probably about an hour in, you do come to like a broken down cart. But even as you get there, you can see there's a Dungannon Navy person who is there assisting this older couple in kind of changing the wheel. This is the first time outside of Dungannon, actually, despite the flow of refugees, where there hasn't been like this omnipotent or omnipresent kind of threat of undead. And so even in the spooky fog, and even as you guys are going along, it's a little bit relaxing, especially compared to being underground. And as the day continues and progresses, the fog does burn off a little bit, and you do get the first kind of rays of a springtime sun lit. After another 3 or 4 hours, this road transitioned to sand. Packed. Definitely traveled before. Kira at this point goes, so we're coming up on the Kuatar dig. This is where you wanted me to drop you off.
Correct.
There's a ship here.
There should be, hopefully.
All right.
Was that a question she was asking, or like, I
It
mean,
was
do
a
we
question.
see the ship?
Definitely a question.
Yeah, do we? Can we like look out?
Yeah.
Are we close enough to see what's on our ship's room?
So as you get a little bit closer, and the fog continues to burn away, there's a moment where you can kind of see the dig, and you're like, oh my god, somebody stole our one-of-a-kind ship. But as the fog kind of drifts to the side, you see first a little sail, and then the wood. And then, still in the position that you left it, you see the winds of change. And the dig behind it.
See,
One
just
thing.
like we said.
You can see her eyes kind of squint. How did you get it here?
Oh, well, you know, flew.
Flew.
Mm-hmm.
She and the horses stop for, like in the air.
If you want to hang out and watch us take off, you can see it for yourself.
I mean, are you in a rush? Could you, if it flies, of
Mhm.
course, could I just do like a quick spin with you? I've never flown
Are
before.
we in a rush? Is Dungannon on the way to Nocturne from here?
No, certainly not.
I guess it can't hurt. It'll like be a minute.
Just like a circle.
All right. I mean, you did get us here.
Thank you. She gets down off this cart, just drops. It's like a far drop for her into the sand. She walks up to these horses. Chester, conditional. I need you to take care and don't turn off, okay? Thank you. She kind of pets their heads. One of them kind of shakes their mane a little bit. Hard to tell if they understand. But
Enjoy horse roleplay.
she goes back, pulls these little feed bags on, and then this little halfling kind of goes, all right, I'll follow you.
Can I do an insight check to see if she's like up to no good?
Yeah, absolutely.
19.
19. She looks really excited. You guys have a flying ship, and you guys are in the middle of nowhere. Her whole business is traveling and bringing people places. The prospect of this is this right now. She's just seeing dollar signs. So yeah, of course she wants to go on this ship.
Delightful.
Yeah. So she's very excited.
There's also almost nothing on the ship.
Yeah.
That's true. That is true.
My wind chimes are there.
That's true.
And actually,
One
even from this
condition.
distance, there's a wind, and you just hear clunk, 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 clunk. The wind chimes are still there.
All right.
Almost louder, if anything.
Excellent.
They've grown more powerful in the distance.
So, we'll see if we can get her back into flying condition. Hopefully it's just sand.
Okay. You all make your way over to the ship, and with it being broad daylight, not stumbling out drunkenly, you can board one by one without problem. She makes her way up, taking a little longer than all of you with the very short legs, even shorter than Brenna. But she pops up onto the deck, kind of looking around. She begins with her sandaled feet, just kicking off some of the accumulated sand a little bit. Do we need to get it all off, or can we just go?
It'll probably blow off when we start moving, but
Ah.
that just might make things a little bit less. Might want to close your eyes during takeoff.
And she kind of goes towards the back. She goes over to you, Brenna, and kind of tries to link up arms with you. Do you let her?
Yes, but like begrudgingly.
Okay. She's like, you seem like a sturdy lass. Kind of gets like buckled in basically with your arm.
Please grab your emergency, Brenna, before we take off.
If an Akka drops down during flight. Yeah, so go ahead. I'm going to say you've done this enough now. No problem. you take off without issue. The sand kind of rolling to the back and falling, cascading. This halfling, keeping her eyes wide open, turns around. She can see as you lift up and off and away, the wood creaking slightly as the landing was not great. She is amazed at this. It's like this almost rain of sand behind you. Orange, yellow, kind of gold in the sun, now breaking through. And as you guys kind of cast up and up and up a little bit, taking this wide gap around, you are now like above the fog, and the sunlight is very warm. She seems to really enjoy herself. Kind of once she does like tentatively let go of Brenna, like scampers up to the front, does the whole little Titanic moment for herself. She turns around from the front and just goes, "Why don't you all just sell stuff? Why do you just? This is so cool." She's like holding on to the front, her hair like behind.
Well, if we make it through the next 2 months, then maybe.
As you check your watch.
your sundial
My
watch.
sundial watch.
It's a really slow sundial.
You get all messed up flying around. No.
She turns and says, "Well, if you ever want a job, we can certainly hire you. This kind of a craft, I mean, how far can it go on a single feed? How does this move?"
Well, we gotta keep some secrets.
She kind of nods a little bit. As she's nodding from the front of the ship, suddenly, though, there is a shadow, not coming from above you. As you steer the ship around in the sun on one side, a much larger figure than you remember kind of begins to climb, one big yellow-clawed hand over the side of the ship. He was much more gaunt when you saw him surrounded in this ring of candles. But this demon, as it pulls itself aboard, or devil, as it pulls itself aboard, let me give you a visual perspective.
Oh man,
I didn't check the ship at all. I didn't think about it because I'm the fucking Badlands.
Oh man, and we didn't free him, and now he's here.
He's probably not your biggest fan.
Oh man.
So.
I was hoping to have a nice chill time, no battle maps before Matt got here.
Yeah, right?
So
Sorry,
gently
Matt.
lower that
Oh, the
down.
horses are there.
Gotta put her having her
Protect
Titanic
them.
moment right there. He is climbing up. You guys are in the air.
Oh wow, look at him.
Oh,
He's big. Yeah. All right. So let me throw over this combat camera so that you can see what we're seeing. Is that centered on the camera? It should be.
Not
Ish.
quite.
Yeah.
Give it a little
Here we
little
go.
stir there. So, as you guys continue to fly, and this creature, one hand over and the other,
God damn it.
because it is 10:48 and a great place to take a break, and maybe Matt can join us for this combat. We're gonna step away here.
dang it.
So it is right about to be 9:50. I figure we'll come back right around 10 o'clock. That should give Matt a little bit more time. He probably will be a little bit later than that. But thank you so much for hanging out with us here for Adventures in Alberon, and we'll see you in just a little bit. howdy folks, welcome back to Adventures in Alberon, our 5th edition D&D campaign. We're going to jump right into combat. So if I could have everybody roll for initiative. This horned devil prying himself up the ship. I'm picking my Starfinder notebook up. Let me do that. Alrighty. Ooh, love that.
That's not good.
Don't like that.
Okay. Anybody natural 20?
No.
Okay. 25 to 20.
21.
22.
All right. So, Brenna, then Eleanor. Anybody 20 to 15? Ooh. 15 to 10.
14.
11.
14. 11, so 14
should've
for
known.
Shay. 11 for Oakfeld. You see Akka in the corner just begin like looking and then begins like really chew that apple. He'll roll for initiative when he's done. All right. So the way that this is going to work, this creature is going first. Followed by Brenna, then Eleanor, then Shay, and then Oakfeld, and then very last is the civilian. Actually, you know what? Let's be fair about it. Oh, okay. Never mind. She's going third. So Kira is going third between Brenna and Eleanor.
It's just,
Alright.
it's not going to work.
I think the ship is too tilty.
What are you trying to do?
Oakfeld won't stand up.
Oh, yeah.
He will stand tall.
Will he?
I just need somebody to hold him.
I thought you were just going to hold it the whole time. Okay, so
Do we have like a random object in here?
this demon crawls one hand after the other and then yanks on the ship. The whole ship, you feel, bow slightly down as he leaps up the wings, one big flap, and then onto the deck. If you could place him right next to Eleanor and Kira, kind of on that space right to the right of them.
I think.
Other side, sorry, my right.
He's on the deck?
He's on the deck, yeah. Kind of like basically, if you think about like a gargoyle stance, he's like clinging to the edge of this railing, looking over you, the tail kind of coming up. He looks at all of you and says, Zystris granted me my freedom. You should have done the same. Eleanor, you are going to take
I'm going to take.
3 attacks.
Okay.
So the first is the first 2 is gonna be with its fork. You see suddenly as it holds out its hand, this pitchfork appear. Pitchfork appear. It is black, wrought iron. And the first attack is gonna be a 14 to hit.
Misses.
Okay. Second attack is gonna be that's a natural 20 for a 30 to hit.
Fuck.
That's unfortunate. All right, you are going to take. Man, it's early in the fight too. 18 points of piercing damage.
Okay. Can I use evasion?
So evasion, remind me, that's if you
Dexterity saving throw.
That's a saving throw. Hang on.
you have
Right.
evasion, and then you have as a rogue one other one that halves things.
Yeah, it's the uncanny dodge. That was it. I
Okay.
used the wrong name.
So are you uncanny dodging?
I would like. Yes, I'm gonna use my reaction to have damage.
The fork appears. He thrusts it forward, and as he does, you bend Matrix style. It kind of clips you on the chest and arm, just barely digging in, and still it hurts. However, you then kind of see this tail streaking for you. That is a 16 to hit.
That's my AC.
That's your AC. Unfortunate.
Yep.
So you take an additional 8 points of piercing damage. Go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw, please.
Yes. Starting off strong. Natural 1.
Wow. Okay.
Come back next week with my new character.
Eleanor, this fork comes flying towards you. You bend Matrix style. The whole world slows down. And as you dodge, you see it move. You see like your reflection in this polished wrought iron. You feel as if you've dodged a bullet. And then suddenly through your back, the tail pierces through your chest. You take an additional. Only 7 points of piercing damage.
Okay.
But as this pulls back through, like blood pours out. You would imagine it's going to continue to hurt for quite some time. That is like an internal wound, and every time you hear your heart, it just pumps blood out of you, soaking into your shirt. However, that is its attacks. That brings us to Brenna. What would you like to do?
Horrifying.
Up the front of this, you can just see now Eleanor briefly skewered, and then the tail pulls out, spattering blood across the deck.
All right, time to rage.
There you go, you're raging.
Let's see what fun thing we get. 4 or 7. Okay. All right. So
could you put this on, or whoever can reach?
Yes.
you can decide exactly what this looks like, Joe, but here's what happens on my rage. Flowers and vines temporarily grow around me. Until my rage ends, the ground within 15 feet of me is difficult terrain for my enemies.
Fantastic.
It's so flowery.
So as you see this happen, you see Eleanor's blood spatter across the deck. You feel rage well up inside you. And as you feel the echo of this hot, wild magic emanate from you, it seeps into the wood. The wood seems to twist and grow underneath your feet, and then kind of bursting with roots. Very similar to oak fells that kind of writhe out before kind of like tightening around the deck, making the entire area uneven around you.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
And then I'm gonna come up to him, hefting my axe. Oh no. Oh, I'm sorry.
Everybody's dead. Who's that, Oakfeld?
That was Oakfeld.
You
yeah.
see
He
Oakfeld
was
over
not-
the side.
He had too much wine.
Yeah, he's
right.
wasted all that cup.
I'm gonna hit him.
Go ahead and make your attacks.
Yes. All right. 28 to hit.
28 hits, yeah. Damn. Big axe.
It is a big axe. It's too big. Some might say it's too big. Oof. 18 damage.
18 damage.
Yeah.
Jeez. Now, is this a magical weapon?
No, not unless you say it is.
Kind of sinks in, and it doesn't do as much damage as you would expect it to do.
Dag. All right. Well, despite that, I'm gonna go ahead and hit him again. My extra attack. 24 to hit
24 hits?
for 9 damage.
Yeah.
And I think that is my turn.
Okay. So, Brenna, you come running forwards, and as these roots expand, one of them kind of propels you forward. You leap in the air, using this as a springboard, and sink this right into the devil's clavicle. It hits the bone and just clang, stops, as if it hits metal. The devil turns to you, licks its lips, and you see the tail kind of turn in your direction. Anything else? That's your turn, Brenna?
Yep.
It's Kira's turn. Free action, shite! And she runs to the side, kind of pinwheeling, and then turns, kind of looking at all of you panicked. That is her turn. She is in no way a combatant. It brings us to Eleanor. Shay, you're on deck. What would you like to do, Eleanor?
So I'm going to activate my sword as my bonus action, and basically take a revenge strike against
There you go.
the Horned Devil. And since he is engaged with Brenna, will this be a sneak attack? He's engaged in another enemy.
He is engaged with another enemy, and I believe for that to work, there needs to be... Yes, that is true. So you have advantage on this attack, yes. The other one is if you are engaged and nobody else is within
Yeah,
5
so
feet,
I get it
yes.
both ways.
Yes. There's like exactly one scenario in which it doesn't count.
Yeah. Question, it's not advantage, it's just I get the sneak attack damage if I hit, right?
No, you have advantage. So
Advantage.
anytime that you are granted advantage, technically it
Yeah.
qualifies for sneak attack as long as you haven't taken one yet.
Okay.
You have advantage because you have them flanked.
I don't think I have him flanked.
No, you don't.
No. Because, like...
So here's the thing: the way that I'm imagining this, the base of this creature is technically on the ship. If you were where Brenna was, you might be able to get a flanking bonus with Kira, technically, as dumb as that is. But at this point, you do not. So
Yeah.
this is just like a flat attack.
So, yeah, but, like, because the other thing with sneak attack is...
You don't need advantage for that particular element. So yes, you still
Right.
get sneak attack damage.
Yeah, so just not advantaged.
Correct.
Cool. I'm like, I want to move.
You have to hit first, though.
Yeah, and I don't think this will. So that is a 15.
15 does not hit.
Yeah.
So you send the rapier forward, and the tail knocks it out of the way, off into the air before returning.
Alright, so I'm gonna need. Hey.
Matthew!
There he is.
Hey, welcome!
Thank goodness. The big devil came.
Big. Yeah.
Welcome, Matthew.
Hello. Welcome, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome.
Matthew, roll for initiative.
Ah,
Get in here.
shit. I was like, could barely hear it, but I was definitely listening this
Yeah.
whole time.
Alrighty. So,
Alright, so I'm gonna move back, and correct me if I'm wrong, but attacking with the dancing rapier range is the bonus action, and if I needed, I would need to be in melee for do my regular attack. with it.
correct. You need to be in whatever your reach is, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're stepping back, and you did not hit him, did you?
I did not hit him, so actually instead of stepping back, I'll step forward.
Okay, fair enough. So you step into his guard. That is your turn, Eleanor.
Can I take my attack?
Oh, yeah, I guess. Why not?
Hold on. I don't. Okay, we're just gonna leave me there.
Yeah, but I
Might
know
be
you're
some theater of the
shuffled
mind.
forward.
Yeah,
a
theater
little
of the mind. it's
Shout
fine.
out to Talon for keeping me occupied at work.
bit. Yeah, I saw that.
Alright, so I'm gonna take another attack. Much better. So this would be a 23.
23 hits.
Okay. So. Excellent. So with this would be sneak attack still, since he's still engaged in another person. Or
Sneak
because
attack damage, yes.
Damage,
yes.
yes. Cool. Yes. Okay, cool. It's been a while since I've been a rogue,
No,
so
it's
I'm just
okay.
trying to make sure I have like
I need
all
to.
the conditions correct.
I should actually
And the
roll
last
for
time we
initiative.
fought, it wasn't much of a fight. So.
What is that?
That's a 5.
That's actually good because it means you haven't gone yet.
Yeah,
So that
that's
actually,
good.
this is the one time you want to roll
Yeah.
initiative. Okay.
30 damage.
30 damage. Nice. As this is a magical attack, and this rapier goes through, first it misses and out and into the range. This creature kind of corners you off, splitting you from the rapier, licks its lips, and just says, "You shouldn't have done that." And then comes piercing through his back. You hear him kind of gasp before he looks at you again. The tail kind of flicks over, still looking at Brenna, but this fork seems aimed towards you.
Sucks, doesn't it?
Anything else, Eleanor?
That's all I can do.
Fair enough. Shay, what would you like to do?
Gonna go hit him.
Okay.
No.
For a 21.
21 hits.
So this is the guy we're fighting.
That is the devil that was in that ring
He's a
of
big boy.
you
Yeah.
guys talked to. You were very rude to.
Big
That is 8.
big jerk.
He told us that Zeist
8.
let him go.
Why?
8 damage, you said?
Good. And he can make a Constitution saving throw, because why not?
Yeah.
Cool.
That's a natural 20. That is, I think, the third one that I've rolled tonight, which is
Damn.
amazing. But that is going to be a success for sure. That was a, what kind of save?
Constitution.
Yes, that is a save. 25.
Alright. That is a 24.
24 hits.
13. And natural 20.
Very nice.
19.
19 points of damage. Damn.
And then back where I was.
Okay, so as this thing skewers Eleanor, the tail pulls out, blood across the deck. Brenner runs in. Eleanor is kind of has this rapier skewer through the back of this thing. And as it falls forwards a little bit, turns and kind of licks its lips, you dart forwards. You hit it in the knee, kind of spinning around with the right kick. And as it buckles a little bit to the side, you bring an uppercut up with all of your force. You end up moving your body about 15 feet into the air as this head snaps back. You see a tooth fly off and get lost in the wind behind you. That's a pretty big hit. Anything else, Shay? Oh, you went to the back of where you were?
Back to where I was.
Anything else?
That's it.
Oakfeld, what would you like to do? Akka, you're next.
I would like to summon a Quetzalcoatl.
Quetzalcoatl?
Yeah, I said that
Okay.
right. Yeah, a conjure animal. And I'm gonna have him do a dive attack at him. Do you have a mini for it, or
Fantastic. Sure.
Does he have
Is
a
it
mini
Quetzalcoatl?
for
I
it?
don't think I have
Quetzalcoatl.
one of those, but I should.
I know it from Final Fantasy VIII.
Do have.
That's where I remember it from.
Flying snake from.
Quetzalcoatl is from
Mexico, or is it
I don't
Aztec?
specifically have one of
It was my
those,
favorite
but-
summon in Final
It's-
Fantasy VIII. This is what it looked like in.
Akkadian, maybe? I forget. It's Babylonian. Babylonian, I think.
I thought it was Aztec.
No.
That's Aztec.
Yeah, it's
Aztec.
Aztec.
Yeah, they're
There
featured
it
very
is.
heavily in
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tar.
All right.
Yeah.
It was my favorite summon in Final Fantasy VIII.
So all of a sudden,
Could never pronounce
Oakfeld.
it.
What does
though.
it look like when you summon a creature? Like
It looks
this?
exactly like the one in Final Fantasy.
You know, what does it look like when you summon it?
Oh, basically, I think he lets out probably maybe I don't know if I can. I have to think of another flower because I don't think I can say that flower. Can I say this flower? No.
I don't know. It's like that.
Can you say it? Did you say? What does that mean?
It's not. It's not a PC term for that flower.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know exactly what flower you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think
It's a desert flower.
What could it be?
I'll tell you after.
Okay.
Why don't you just use like the actual
Anyways.
term?
Oh yeah, I could do that.
Scientific.
This is taking a little bit longer
Sorry,
than I was looking
I
for a
apologize.
description.
Just say it's like a seed or something. Yeah.
Fair enough. So you take the seed out of your belongings and release it into the wind. It's this gentle motion, but as you were traveling on a ship, it just gets lost. And all of a sudden, from behind, there is this of green smoke, and suddenly this creature emerges. There's like a single shriek as it goes up high in the sky, kind of eclipsing itself with the sun, and then it dive bombs. Go ahead and make your attack.
Even. And then I'm just gonna bonus action.
So you gotta make
transform.
your attack.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Now, can it attack as part of the summon, or is it a bonus action to have an attack?
Let me look up conjure animals. It doesn't say.
Okay.
If you don't issue any commands, yeah, no action is required for the command.
There you go.
Yeah.
Great. Roll that attack.
17.
17 is a miss. This thing goes streaking down, and you see one of the wings just flip to the side, and this creature dives below the ship.
Sorry, I'm so out of it. +4 actually. Yeah.
21.
Yeah.
21.
Yeah,
Okay,
'cause
that does
Sorry,
help.
I'm super out of it.
He moves the wing out of the way. This thing disappears below and reemerges on the other side of the ship, kind of slingshotting around, slamming into this creature's chest.
It doesn't fit underneath.
He grabs onto it and kind of throws it aside, but go ahead and roll damage.
Yeah.
Thrown aside.
This is a tiny little thing for this guy.
Could be his friend. We could have been his friend.
4.
Choices were made.
For me.
8.
Don't talk to strangers, especially if they're locked up
9
in the
plus 2.
Mind Flayer Lich's dungeon. Those aren't. That's a stranger danger if
Okay,
I ever
so-
seen one.
He takes that little blow, grabs onto this creature, throws it to the side. Takes one more step aboard, but anything else, Oakfeld?
I'm just gonna have it fly back 50 feet.
Okay, so kind of flying off to the side of the ship.
Yeah.
Aka.
Yeah. Am I here? Am I just on the ship chilling?
Yeah, so in the back, you finish swallowing the sweet treat.
Sweet
And
treat.
what do you want to do?
Shit. I'm gonna fuck this thing up, I guess. All of the pent up brooding finally paying off. I'm gonna use my first action to cast haste on myself,
Great.
as per usual. Then I'm going to dash myself on over to this guy,
Okay.
and then flying up
That
around
on,
like head face height.
Aka.
And then bonus action, I am going to use my new ability, Manifest Echo.
Okay.
So I am going to magically manifest an echo of myself in an occupied space that I can see within 15 feet of me. It is a magical translucent gray image of me that lasts until it is destroyed. Dismiss it as a bonus action or manifest another one, or until I'm incapacitated. I'm going to manifest it within flanking distance of him. Oh great, that's me. Oh,
Looks
this
just
one's-
like you.
Yeah, the likeness is uncanny. Not Akami.
Do you want this to
Sure. All right. So I'm floating somewhere like, flanking him now.
Flanked.
Flanked. I have well and flanked this guy so that I may now attack him with my new arm blade.
So all of you haven't seen this before, but Akka, looking up, finally swallowing this toffee apple, takes a couple steps forwards, and then you see, at one point, it looks almost as if he's like taking a step forward, but this astral projection seems to separate and appear on the other side. It looks like Akka, but without features. It's vague, like a
painting.
Like a painting, yes.
And I'm gonna make my first attack
Go for it.
with my arm sword. It is at advantage because I am flanking with
It is.
myself
Yes,
now.
that is what that whole idea is. Yes.
Yay, built-in flanking. I can find. This is actually, I think, the first time I've had advantage, and I designed the character initially
Yeah, I know.
to have advantage because I have Elven Accuracy, which I've never fucking used,
nice.
but now I have it, so I can use it. So,
The one spellcaster
Yeah.
becoming a tank.
That's 29.
29 hits, yeah.
Great.
Just a bit, just a bit.
Cool. I'm gonna go ahead and make my second attack with my extra attack.
Okay.
That is a 21.
21 hits.
All right, and then gonna use my haste action to make a third attack.
Okay.
That's a 25.
That hits as well, yeah.
Great. Okay, so that's gonna
Advantage is a
be-
wonderful thing.
Advantage is great, and I get to roll 3d20s.
Mhm.
I am stronger through death.
Also, the
But
level up, definitely.
I need. Give me your d20. Your
What do you
d8.
need?
D8. My d8s are lacking right now. I can't find my third. Oh, thank you.
Good talk.
All right. Yeah, that was nice.
Thank you.
That's 8 plus 26 points of damage.
Yeah, okay. Hang on. Is it, no, this is magical?
Yes.
Okay.
Magical piercing, I think.
Okay. So you see suddenly Akka take this step forward in a painting version of himself to the other side. And then at the same time, both leap into action. And you can see Akka swinging forward with this arm blade and this creature parrying with the fork. He goes to smile and then suddenly he's stuck in the back from the shadow Akka. He turns around, swiping at that one, and Akka kind of goes low, slashing him across the calf. He turns. Anything else, Akka?
Yeah. Then I'm gonna get out of his range. So I'm gonna have my echo move. It's 30 feet.
Okay.
Like, I'm gonna have it move like 15 feet this way.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna myself move back only like 5 feet.
Okay. It's going to take an attack
10
of
feet.
opportunity on you.
Yeah, I can't use my bonus action to do the thing that I wanted to do.
That is going to be a 27 to hit.
Does that hit? That just hits.
Yeah. Haste is awesome too, huh?
East Sudaka is a wonderful thing.
Okay.
It wouldn't have hit if I still had my
Reaction?
my spell resist or my cloak of whatever that was before the cloak of spell resistance.
You were going to take 20 points of piercing damage.
Ouchies.
As he thrusts forwards, this long fork hits you in the leg. You can see the shadow also seems to feel this pain. So, anything else on your turn, Akka?
Nope.
Okay.
Just anger.
The wings flap and he leaps. You see he gets about 30 feet off and then lands over next to Shay.
Like,
Between Shay and yeah, right there.
yeah.
Join us on our tiny boat.
Eleanor, make a athletics check, please.
Athletics. Okay. So that would be 24.
Okay. It lands on the deck. You kind of like fall almost off the ship, and then suddenly he wraps these fingers around you, pinning your arms to your body, lifts you off the ground, and throws you behind him. Eleanor, you're falling.
Ah.
Cool.
Also, all of a
The
sudden, as the
entire
pilot of your
control
ship is no longer there, all of you feel the steady hum of this engine, and the ship begins to dip as
Oh,
well.
we're in the air.
We're in the air.
You're about 60 feet in the
And
air.
Oh.
I got thrown
And
off the
Eleanor
ship.
just got hurled off.
Oh. Cool.
Okay.
This demon now facing you, Akka. Like, you just see throw Eleanor off, not even making
Oh,
eye
dang.
contact, just looking at you, and the tail comes thrusting forward. Akka, that is... that's not going to hit. That's going to be a 16 to hit.
Get out of here.
Get him
Second
out.
one, that is a natural 1.
Get out of here.
So he swings with this. You kind of duck to the side. He sees the shadow out of the corner of his eye and swings at that. The shadow kind of separates and comes back together. He seems confused by that, looking, but that is his turn. Brenna, what would you like to do? And Kira's on deck, and then Eleanor, you begin to fall.
I'm gonna fly down and catch Eleanor,
There you go.
and then can I keep flying and carry her back up? Like, how much can I do?
What is your flight speed?
35.
Okay. No problem. Yeah. You fly over and go ahead and make an athletics check as you have to go and grab Eleanor, who is like beginning to plummet.
I'm raging, so I have advantage
This
on
is
my
true.
test.
She gets maybe like a foot off this thing, and then the current of the air begins to yank her body. So you have like a split second where you can grab her.
15.
15.
Thank you, advantage, for letting me avoid
You
the
reach
natural
out,
one.
you grab a hold of her, and you just watch her go.
No.
Whoa. Flash of genius.
What does that bring it up to?
20.
20 flash of genius. In this moment, you let go. You dive from this ship, like fully airborne off the deck, grab onto the railing with one arm, and with your other, reach out and grab Eleanor by the tips of your fingers around her wrist and yank her back. Eleanor, you across the deck. And Brenna, for a moment, you swing free before kind of grabbing and hauling yourself back on board. Well done. That flash of genius
Most
just
super
made
helpful.
20 DC.
I'm going to assume
Matt.
I'm prone.
You are prone.
Yes.
Yes.
Loves me some flash of genius.
Well done. Yeah.
Welcome back.
All right. So, Brenna, that
Happy
is
New
your movement and your action. You still have a bonus action.
Yeah, not much to do with it though.
Bonus action, smack 'em.
I don't.
Do you have
Yeah.
bonus action attack?
No.
Doesn't everyone?
No.
It's just
No.
not.
No, I think that's gonna have to be my turn because my only bonus action.
That's a
would,
pretty good turn.
would be
You
to like drop
land on the
raid, so,
deck,
yeah.
still angry. However, if you do not take an attack between now and the next one, you're going to lose your rage. Just as a heads up.
It's okay. I have a lot of them.
It is Kiara's turn. You can see for a moment she sees Eleanor tossed over and she goes, no! And then Eleanor kind of gets whipped back and she goes, and she like kind of sits down, scoots up back against the back of this railing. That is her turn. She has nowhere to go. You guys are beginning to drop. Eleanor.
Yep.
On your turn, the ship descends 15 feet. Kind of losing ground rapidly. You see the sand going up to meet you. What do you want to do?
Can I stand up and then try to grab the controls and kind of like re-engage the ship?
From where you are, stand up, 15 feet of movement, and then 10 feet of movement to the controls. Yes, you can.
Okay.
So you are sliding across, and even using that momentum, you roll over and kind of scrabble to your feet. You slide between Oakfeld and Kiera, you basically step over her. She's like bunched in the corner, and you throw your hands underneath. You feel the familiar sensation of the ship's vigor, and as you move your hands, the ship kind of evens out about 45 feet off the ground.
Okay.
I'll call that a bonus action. It's pretty easy just to run and then grab the controls.
Okay. So I can't action. I don't think I can attack him without also. It's re-engaged. We can probably get back into melee with him.
You have
Stab.
5 feet of movement, so you.
Would I be able to get back into melee?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay. So my bonus action is the ranged one.
Unfortunate. Okay, fair enough.
It's fair. So what I'm gonna do instead
Yeah.
is use my action. I think that's an action. Hang on, let me just double check.
What is it?
Okay, I'm going to use Panache to try to get the Horn Civil attention back on me, and he'd be like, "I'm back. You can't get rid of me that easily."
Shaky voice.
Look at.
Alright, so that is a total 32.
Oh, okay.
Just missed.
This figure whips the head around. I'll have to throw you harder. Anything else? Definitely got his attention.
Yeah, that's it for Eleanor.
Alrighty, Eleanor, that is your
Thank
turn.
you for
Shay,
saving my
what would you
ass.
like to do? Oakfeld, you are on
Yep.
deck. For now.
Right in front of me,
Along
right?
my turns. are
Right in
he's
front of
going
you.
to
His
catch
attention
me.
not on you. He's looking back.
Perfect. He's gonna get hit.
Go ahead.
Flanking, right? Because
Yes.
I'm there.
Because everybody's there.
Yeah.
This is a very small
Yeah,
battle.
there's not there's not
Yeah,
really
roll
many
damage on
places
that.
for us to go.
At least some of you can
13.
fly.
It's true. Yeah, I didn't lose my ability to fly.
And he can make a
Can
constitution
you
saving
fly
throw.
because of an item or because
It's a 27.
Because Artificer
That'll save.
can
Um,
get an Artificer infusion for
29.
winged boots.
9. That hits.
13.
I just drew a Nike
Okay.
swish on my boots. And I
25.
Not a sponsor. Not a
25.
sponsor.
We're talking about Nike that got us in victory.
9
Yes,
specifically.
Nikkei.
Okay. So Shay, he lands, and for a moment you kind of like begin to engage. He's able to move, but then you hear Eleanor's voice from behind. Over the wind, you can't even really hear what's said, but it catches his attention. He wheels around. I'll have to, and then suddenly, with this opportunity, with your speed, you are in his face. From behind, as he turns and he begins to talk to you, suddenly you see Shay over top, and then begin to rain blows down from behind. You feel the neck, or you hear this neck kind of crack a little bit as it snaps with one of the blows at an awkward angle. He's forced, as he begins to kind of like take the first couple of flutters of his wings, he gets like an inch off the ground, and then Shay's onslaught kind of grounds him again. But fantastic. Anything else, Shay?
No, I'm just gonna hang out there.
There you go. Oakfeld, you're up. What do you want to do?
I
Okay, you're on deck.
would first like to transform.
Okay.
I would like to be a single petal of a dandelion flower.
But like Oakfeld size, single petals?
Yes,
Okay.
and the yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So the like fluttering away phase, when they're like the little closed thing?
Yeah, and if I
Okay.
have to, I can turn into the fluttering away
Okay,
phase.
fantastic. So suddenly Oakfeld, this human, becomes a long, narrow, white, what looks like a folded umbrella almost.
Big kid in the school play vibes.
Yeah.
I'm the flower.
I'm gonna have my Quetzalcoatl attack.
Go for it. This creature swoops under the ship.
19 plus 4,
19 plus 4, that
23.
hits.
and it's doing a dive attack, so it gets an extra 3d6.
There you go.
That's 5, 8, and then I do my dive part. 7, 11. So 11 plus 8, 19.
19. This thing swoops under the ship and then hooks up and up and up into the air. This creature, like getting hit from the side again and again from Shay, kind of swipes at it away, and suddenly a shadow falls across his face. This creature socks at full speed. You see feathers, wings, gone in an instant, and this thing turns to the side. Eyes now getting a little bit nervous looking around. Seems pretty hurt.
And I'm just going to attack it as normal with my spear.
Go for it.
8, that's a miss. Plus 9, that's a miss, yeah.
Yeah.
Second attack. 17 plus 9.
That
That's a
hits.
hit, yeah. 8 plus 4 plus a d6. 15.
All right.
That's my turn.
All right. He's beginning to look kind of rough. And as you hit him again and again, he's being hit by Shay. This feathery kind of dragon creature strikes him from the other side. You go and stick him again and again in the side with your spear. He's kind of like swiping these things away, and you can see this bluish blood kind of dripping down, pooling around his feet. He's still up. He's still fighting, but he's beginning to look a little hurt. That is your turn, Oakfeld. Akka, what do you want to do?
All right, so he's already flanked. I'm gonna just have this guy move over like 30 feet this way to kind of catch if he tries to sneak off that side. That's
Okay.
my echo form.
Sure.
And then I'm gonna just smack him a bunch of times while I'm flanking him
Sure.
with Shay. So first attack. That's gonna be hit 19 plus. That's a 30.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
hits.
So that's one attack.
No, Jumanji. Well, that would have been great.
I didn't see it, but I trust you. That's a 21 to hit,
21 hits.
and third attack with my haste action. That's cocked. Natural 20.
Natural
Nice.
20. Very, very nice.
Okay, so the first two hits are gonna be 24 points,
24 points.
and then I double the dice, but not the modifier.
Not the
right?
modifiers, yeah.
So second, or the critical hit is 12 more points of piercing
Not
damage.
bad. So this time, you swirling around, Shay in front, Eleanor behind, kind of calling its attention, Brenna hacking into it from one side. This creature is surrounded. Two Akkas striking from one side and the other. There is a whirlwind of damage happening, and blood kind of spattered across the deck.
And then
Yeah,
I'm gonna use my bonus action to swap places with this guy.
nice. And so as soon as you finish that attack, he turns to you and goes to swipe. You're gone. You just see this burst of calligraphy-like glyphs that, with this smoke on the other place, and now you were where the shadow was, and the shadow were you. That is your turn. That brings us to his turn. So he is feeling pretty hurt.
That's pretty cool.
At this point, looking around, he's going to turn his face to you, Akka, and he's just going to say, "Your party is weak. He can always see you." The wings, and he takes off. In the air. Whoever wants to.
Echo
I
form.
feel like all of us.
With the exception of Brenna, can make an attack of opportunity.
Can I make an attack of opportunity or just my echo form?
Just your echo form,
Right.
but
It's the same.
realistically, it's the same thing.
I don't think this one gets it.
Are they at advantage?
2.
This is an attack of opportunity, so
So
it's
no.
at an advantage.
Okay.
27.
27 hits.
21.
21 hits.
19?
19 just hits.
Get him.
Let's fuck him up before he gets away!
2.
2, that just misses.
You're so close.
Terrible.
9
Ooh,
points of damage.
nice.
9 points.
12 points of damage.
5 points of damage. Rolled a 1.
Okay. Okay, every little bit counts.
One is better than none.
Yeah.
The wings draw it about 30 feet up in the air, and as your ship is taking away, you see the hands begin to move. They draw. You see the spark. They draw again. This fireball, and then again. Now holding this blazing inferno, yields it over his head and chucks it down towards your ship.
The civilian.
That's gonna hit for sure. Do the damage on this. It's actually less damage, I believe, than his melee attack.
Is he attacking the
Oh
ship?
no, it's more. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's not having a great success with you guys, so he's gonna hit the thing made out of wood. You are gonna take. Oh, sorry, the ship's gonna take. Not that bad, although it is fire. So this bolt of fire streaks down, hits the deck, all of you kind of diving away and out of range, not getting hit by the fire itself, but suddenly a crackling blaze on the middle. The deck catches fire, the ship now kind of ablaze, going evenly, but even now with your hands on the controls, you feel almost the ship's wood, the pain that it would feel if it were alive. Your hands feel hot on the controls. But this creature, kind of 60 feet up, 90 feet up, and you can see beginning to head away.
90 feet, though?
Yeah, 90 feet.
Okay, cool.
All right,
We like
his
that
turn.
distance.
That brings us to Brenna.
Did my rage drop?
It did.
That's okay. I'm gonna go into a rage again.
Excellent.
And that means that
Yeah.
New
I-
wild shape. Or
New
wild
wild
magic.
Let's see. All right. So an intangible spirit, which looks like, and I get to pick either a flumph or a pixie. Obviously,
Oh.
I pick a flumph.
Okay.
Appears within 5 feet of one creature of my choice within 30 feet, which is annoying.
Oh.
So I'm just gonna have it pop up next to me.
Okay. So suddenly this
Yeah.
thing appears.
He's ready. At the end of the. Oh no, it has to explode. Okay, never mind.
It's probably not next to you.
I thought I could like decide whether it exploded or not, but I
Oh,
don't think
yeah.
that's the case. Okay, never mind. I'm gonna do the other one I got. It's a retribution thing, so
Sure.
watch out, guy,
Okay.
if you hit
No
me.
worries, no worries. You begin to kind of glow with the weird shifting energy.
And then I was hoping to get the throwy weapon one, but since I didn't,
Throwing
like-
that axe is awesome. It's just so big.
I guess I'll just ready an action to hit him if he happens to come back within range.
He's like, just kidding.
I don't know. Might as well. right?
Well, funny you
Kiara,
should
on her
say
turn,
that.
bonus action, just tease a little. Eleanor, what would you like to do? Shay, you are on deck.
Alright, so I believe he's completely outside of my range. I think it's only 60 feet for my weapon. So let me just double check that.
This is for the rapier?
30 feet, yeah, no, way out of my range. So instead, I'm going to just basically, I can't put anything, I don't know how to water or anything. I basically just use my turn, hold my action just in case. Yeah, ship's on fire. I can't
Sorry,
sorry.
I forgot.
That's alright.
But it, like fire's crawling up, you're like, come on.
So I'm gonna try to basically like keep this ship steady
Mhm.
and then start to pilot it away from the. He's starting to go.
Yeah.
So keep ship steady, and then I guess my action to be prepared is once he's out of all of our ranges, to start getting the ship down
Okay.
so we can handle a
with
fire
this? Yeah,
situation.
Sounds like a plan. So you begin to kind of get ready to descend. That is your turn, Eleanor. That brings us to you, Shay.
Guiding bolt.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yes. Guide that bolt.
That is a 23.
Does Shay
23
also
hits.
say unlimited power when she uses her guiding bolts?
Sure.
Does she say it like Gunther?
No.
Nobody says it. like
Nobody
Gunther.
says it like Gunter. Oh, that's beautiful. 20.
Tell us how it happens. It's
Nice.
one more point than you needed.
Nice.
Explodes in a brilliant cast of light.
So Shay, as you see this thing streak out of your striking range, out of your jumping range even, you shift your key from the point of physical strikes to the center of your body. And
Right
as you
around
pull your
here.
hand out, you channel this energy into brilliant, blinding light. And as it streaks from your hand, in the daylight, almost kind of blinding the sun, it hits the individual, this demon in the chest, and you see first it kind of ripples inside, you
solar
see the
plexus.
skin boil around the chest, and then the whole thing explodes. and as it like falls around you guys, you see like chunks of meat falling. It to ash, and just kind of litters the deck.
Nice.
And you're all out of combat. Well done.
Oh, I didn't even do the thing that I was gonna try to do. Didn't even have to. That's good.
Yeah, he wasn't even supposed to die. He was just gonna do. Not that he really died. He comes back in 100 years.
I'm gonna just run
fine.
closest to the front of the ship just in case I have to.
Vomit?
If we're gonna make a crash landing, to like just hold my hands against
fire?
it.
Fire. Does anyone
Yeah,
have anything to handle the fire?
I mean, I've got like canteens and stuff.
Let me see if I
drop my
have
rage
any
and
spells for this.
I open up my like water skin and I use shape water to be like,
Okay.
oh, by the way, guys, I've been practicing my cantrips.
So all of a sudden, you guys have never seen. You've seen elements of magic from Brenna before, but Brenna takes out the little stopper and moves the hand, and you see the water just respond. It comes out like a snake being charmed, and you see a small section of the deck become a little damp, and then the fire begins to crawl back over
Are
it.
there any small campfire-sized fires?
Yeah, here and there.
Can I like prestidigitate the fires?
Oh,
that
there you go.
You see the 3 fires that would qualify now out.
Great. Every
It
little bit
continues to
helps.
burn and
So
crackle.
we're over the desert,
Yes.
right? There's no body of water near us.
Sand
perception
isn't
check.
good.
Sam will put it out.
Yeah.
Oh,
Fly us down, Captain!
Alright, so I'm gonna
As
look for
I
a good place
Fly
to
back onto the deck.
be able to land the ship
Sure.
without like
A
destroying it or a person or a building.
Okay. Go ahead and make a check
non-burning part.
with your proficiency modifier added to it. You are relatively proficient with the ship.
Okay.
Do we still have this guy out?
No.
So that's at 24.
He disappeared.
24. You look at the sand, and as things burn behind you, people kind of panicking. You can hear Kira just crying now. This horrible battle, seeing a demon. She just wanted to go on a flying ship. This was not what she bargained for. The ship is on fire. You hear her praying a little bit. You begin to coast down, and you see an area in the sand that looks a little bit lighter. You can tell this was sand that slid down a dune relatively recently. So you pull around and quickly shift the direction for all of you. You kind of like shuffle to the side. Some of you near the fire have to really steady yourself. But you almost slam the side of the ship in and like slide across the sand over the top, pours through the railing. The little halfling, you see, just get like fired off the side of the deck, the sand carrying her. Actually, everybody go ahead and make a strength saving throw.
Brace.
However, the fire's out.
One.
I also got a 1.
Oh my
Off
god!
the ship.
Strength save.
12.
I have saved
19.
a gaping wound in my
19.
chest.
Oh no, I
Oh.
forgot about the wound.
Oh boy.
God.
Oof.
Oakfeld,
Thank
as
you.
this happens and this lands, you wrap a hand around one of the railings. Your hand extends, growing little roots, and it holds tight. But as this digs into the ground, they snap, and you go pummeling off. You land like face up, a little dazed.
can't
You take
flash
4
of genius
points
all
of
of you.
bludgeoning damage.
My grand total was a 2. I
My-
don't think I'm making it.
My total was 11 for the record.
The two of you, as it hits, you guys are standing like on the perfect part, so that it's almost like a fulcrum effect, and it launches you off. You are flying, you come to the ground, and you are suddenly flying again, end over end over end.
You can just
Brenna.
keep flying though. You're fine.
You are able to right yourself without a problem.
Okay.
Eleanor, you are not.
Oh no.
Am I still hasted because we just exited combat? Can I haste to try and go catch Eleanor?
This is a little too fast for that.
Okay.
She's being fired off of a ship.
Did we go in the same direction?
Oh yeah,
Can I try to like since I was able to write myself, can I try to like catch her?
yeah. You certainly can try. You're in the proximity.
Got the same
Make-
velocity.
Yeah, make a. I'm gonna call this an athletics check. It's gonna be at disadvantage. You're still raging.
No, I dropped the rage.
Okay, so yeah, this is just gonna be a disadvantage athletic check.
Oh, right, disadvantage. 2 dice. That's gonna be a 19.
A 19. Similarly, as she's going, you grab the wrist yet again, almost a parallel moment.
Grip! Flash of
And
genius.
and then just kind of like her momentum pulls you with your wing sandals. She hits the ground, you hit the ground, but you don't take damage. You just like end over end, sand in the mouth, sand in the eyes, in the hair. But you just come to dizzy, panting. You look over, you see smoke rising off the ship, but no fire. It is slightly buried, but you are all alive. You look around.
I
right
look
around
over
you.
at Eleanor and I'm like, good job, Eleanor. You put the fire out.
I think I owe you more than a glass of wine at this point.
I kind of like get to my feet and I help Eleanor to her feet and I look around and see if I can see where the civilian is.
Make a perception check.
Am I still bleeding?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. However, the internal damage only takes place when he attacks you, so it's right now more for flavor. You're not
Okay.
taking additional damage.
Cool.
You're just bleeding.
Yeah.
Modified
Bleeding.
20.
Modified 20. Okay. Remind me again that you were rolling for.
To see if I can see where the halfling went.
You look around, and sure enough, you see the red robes upended and just two little legs.
Oh,
sticking
no!
out of the sand.
Okay, I go pull her out.
I help as much as I can.
Yeah. You guys both stagger over. You're both like, we need to help. You take one step and fall. And you're just like, holy shit, like the whole world's spinning. But you make your way over, and one hand from each of you on a leg, pull her out, sand raining down. She's sobbing. You see like wet sand crusted around her eyes. You kind of like gently set her down. She pulls her knees up into her chest. She's like pretty traumatized.
Can I do a hug check?
Yeah, that's a free action. You go ahead and you just give her a hug.
A big hug.
She resists at first, but kind of falls into it a little bit and then bunches herself into you.
Aw.
Very, very frightened of the situation.
I'm going to slink down to the ground, and the way I bonus action down, and I'm going to try to lift the ship out of the sand.
Okay. make a strength. Make an athletics check.
As I do this, though, I'm going to say a prayer to the Green Matron and then stop myself.
To all the believers who helped us along the way.
And then I'm going to use my ability to the wand, or I want to just flavor it as just like his ability.
Okay.
To turn into a huge boba tree,
Okay.
which is one larger than I can normally do, and just try to lift this whole thing up.
Yeah, make an athletics check. Make it an advantage.
15, so 19 plus
19.
yeah, 19.
You bend underneath this thing and your legs buckle. But instead of buckling and kind of giving out, they've become wider and squatter and then kind of spread into roots and join together, and you become this massive tree rising up and up and up. But your back bends. Your branches cannot lift a ship. But it was a good try. You all now see just a huge tree.
How huge am I?
I believe technically you're large, but if I remember correctly, it's a size larger than you should
Huge.
normally be.
Yeah, it's huge. So what's the
18
highest
About
huge?
18 feet tall, I think, is what it's supposed to be. I'll double check. But I think it's.
I think it'd be higher than 18.
A relatively sizable tree. Certainly no sapling.
Between 16 and 32 feet.
32 feet.
Of course.
Okay.
32 feet.
Are we anywhere near the cart with the horses?
You look back with that perception check, squinting. Close, like you barely see it. The only reason that you see it, it's like on a little bit of a dune before it descends into the dig. You see like the silhouette of the horse. You don't see the cart, you don't see the other horse, you just see like this kind of dark shape and the heat waves in the distance.
So I'm gonna kind of scoop up the halfling lady because finally I've met someone who's smaller than me, and I'm just gonna be like, "They're there. Don't worry. We'll get you back to what are the horses' names?
It was like
Champion
Chester and like
Oh, I do remember one of them was
Conditional.
Conditional,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
It's a racing horse.
And I'm like, and I'll walk with her back toward the ship and just be like, "Don't worry, we'll get you back to your horses. Everything's gonna be okay."
She's just sobbing. She kind of nods her head a little bit. You see this little like booger dripping from her nose. But for the rest of you, you stand in the desert, dazed, slightly injured. Your ship covered in sand. You can see this large tree version of Oakfell trying to lift the ship.
Well, at least it's not on fire anymore. I think I have sand everywhere. Aka, do you think we could fix this, or are we due for a flight back to the...
Can I inspect the damage and see if it's something that I can repair with?
Yeah, make an investigation check.
How long will it take me to repair it? I
Make
can
an
repair it,
investigation
just-
check. Yeah.
Can I help in this process?
Yeah, make it an advantage. Shay can help you out with this. Shay, having spent some time with Gamble, obviously, you know a little bit about the machinations of this.
Investigation 28.
28. There's not a lot of damage to the ship.
Those
And
are
as you
burns.
begin to really examine it, it's just covered in sand. Eleanor did a really good job sliding this in such a way that it didn't harm the ship. It put out the fire. The landing was a little bit rougher than you had all intended, but for all intents and purposes, it got the job done. There is no damage to the ship. You just need to uncover it.
Okay.
Start digging.
Yeah, we just start digging.
No
I'm
problem.
gonna start digging.
Over the course of about an hour, you guys unearth the ship. You see the sun overhead slightly move. Now about 1 o'clock, you guys push the last little bits of sand. Still sand everywhere, but now enough move that you can see the full deck. You would imagine these sails can function yet again.
Alright, well, it's a little bit more eventful than I was hoping for a recovery, but at least we still have it. And the devil's taken care of for now.
Brenna, you drop this little halfling woman off with the horses. She nods. She like turns around. Still, thank you. Kind of like walks back to her horses.
I'm like, sorry.
She turns around and goes, "I just wanted to fly.
I know. I know.
Come on,
We all
sister.
did.
Come on, conditional." And they begin to trot off back in the direction of Dungannon. 200 gold richer, but traumatized.
Was it
She can
worth
spend
it?
it all on therapy.
That's alcohol, straight up. There's not like a therapist in Dungannon.
Dr. McGillicuddy.
I have to think about that. There might be. now that
Yeah,
I'm
Dr.
thinking about it.
McGillicuddy.
Dr.
There's a building inspector. There's got to be a therapist.
Yeah, no, I think there might be. Dungannon's one of the very few places with actual social services, so very possible. But neither here nor there. You are all now in the desert. You have your ship free of the sand. What would you like to do?
Time to go to the place that we need to go, which I can't remember what
Nocturne.
Nocturne.
Nocturne, right? Thank you.
The walls.
Yeah, just kind of get back on the deck and wait to get going.
As we're getting ready to get going, I turn to Akka and I'm like, so I've been meaning to ask you about that sword that we saw earlier. The details of which Hannah can't quite remember, but we definitely both saw it.
We're
It wasn't the sword. So Akka.
Thank you.
Back at
I heard like a little bit of this when I was at work, but I
so
didn't.
back at the Watchful Holdfast.
Okay.
Where you guys met the Helm's Guard a little bit. You saw an interaction with the Tiefling.
Was it? Okay. I heard little bits. Was that Heinrich's brother?
Akka wouldn't know this.
No.
But yes.
Mhm.
This is Heinrich's brother.
Okay. Cool.
So what was the thing you said that Akka sort of like noticed something?
The glow from underneath the sheath, almost identical to the same teal magic that Heinrich used.
Okay.
So, we were talking to a drunkard who witnessed the destruction of Mudtown, which, fun fact, Mudtown destroyed by the undead. So, he mentioned a dwarf with a pitch black sword, darker than night, darker than black.
A dwarf with a pitch black sword.
Have you ever heard of such an enchantment?
Have I
on a
ever
sword?
heard of a pitch black sword?
So interestingly, you did.
Is this
from Heinrich?
Yeah, is that his old sword?
Yes.
Okay.
It was called a rot blade.
Yeah.
This was something bestowed by Azra, the goddess of rot, to her warlocks. Any kill made with the rot blade would add that creature to her army of the undead, with enhanced powers related to her domain.
Where did you hear about this?
When we were at the Watchful Holdfast, we were buying wine, and some drunkard was ranting at us about what happened in Mudtown. We were able to at least ascertain that one of the dwarves had that sword. The salt was there. At least we think it is.
That's one of Azra's warlocks. Shay would probably know more about that. I never saw it myself, but one of our former compatriots.
He used to wield a blade of that same description.
Oh.
So whoever this dwarf is certainly working for Azra.
Creature slain by it will return to her side.
Well, they just took out an entire town, so probably not great.
Well, we can't really afford to go right now, but if we come across anyone with a sword like that, we need to be careful and we need to try our best to stop them. Because it's just compounding issues, and we don't have the time to deal with more issues.
Alright, well,
First pressing issue is Nocturne, after which we will look into these dwarves.
Agreed.
Dwarves plural?
I think we heard that there were two, right?
I remember with Mr. Gift, we were talking about the salt,
Yes.
right? The invasion in Mudtown with the undead. A gnome with two dwarves. The gnome had the salt. The two dwarves were with them. If all our information comes together, it's a gnome, some sort of magic user, and then two potential warlocks.
So if the gnome with the salt is with two rot blade wielders, then they're already working for Zeistrees. He could have it back whenever he wants. There's definitely a reason that he hasn't taken it. I think we still need to go to Nocturne first. But
Oakfeld, make a wisdom saving throw.
there's not.
19 plus
Minus
3.
We should go as quickly as we can, find out what we can in Nocturne, and then try to focus our efforts on either going after the salt or figuring out what we can do in Nocturne about
Going after the eyes. there,
the
yes.
eyes. Yeah.
Alright.
The other
Yeah,
thing.
two terrible tasks to choose from. I agree that Nocturne is more pressing.
Alright.
And geographically speaking, Nocturne, Mudtown is south, right?
Mudtown is south, Nocturne is east.
Right. It's like east and
Across
north
the Sunchoker
of...
chain. You guys have a flying ship, so
Right.
you guys could fly to Nocturne in about 3 days if you were to cut across the Sunchoker chain and fly directly across the Valley of Tranquility. The Kingdom of Sarentil, having outlawed magical items, you may run into some trouble.
We fly
in
really
that
high.
regard.
We'll be fine.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
we'll be
that'd
fine.
be-
Alternatively,
really high up.
you could take a little bit of a detour to the north, add a day or two onto your journey, come in around the Farwater Lock, pass a little bit west of Port Quinn, and end up in Nocturne, maybe like a day extra. Mudtown is about a 5-day trip. It's the same distance if you were to go around the Valley of Tranquility.
Okay. And if it from Nocturne, is it closer to Mudtown than if we went straight to Mudtown
Yes,
now?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. So it's like boop boop boop.
You don't need to
versus
fly
boop,
over
boop.
mountains to get from Nocturne to Mudtown.
Right.
You can fly over kind of the lowlands, over the gated marsh,
Right.
even over the ocean, the boiling sea if you wanted to.
Okay. Yeah. So we should geographically, it makes more sense to go to Nocturne first.
Alright. Then let's go. Is there anything else we need to do?
In the
So
middle of this desert.
Yeah.
Oh, I just kind of assumed we were like getting going and chatting while that was happening.
yeah, I figured we were like
Okay.
starting to take off
You
and
guys
stuff
lift
after
up
we.
and off with no problem. Taking the ship up, turning it north, and beginning to go a little bit further to the north before you break to the east and head across the mountains. Now, do you guys want to cross straight over and across the capital? Or do you want to head a little bit further north? There's actually many ways that you could go.
How high up can you take us?
Well, I guess depends on how high up we can be safe. Would Eleanor know about like the thinning of the atmosphere?
No, you've never taken a flying
Yeah,
trip.
I have no idea. Like, I guess
We've been to Yorn. Yorn's pretty high up.
Yeah.
Probably at least go up high enough to Yorn.
Yeah, it's about 2,000 feet up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can go a quicker route, but Sarentil has outlawed magic, and if we get spotted, that could be a problem. But it would be quicker if we just went directly across.
I mean, are we in danger of losing the ship if we fly over the no magic town? Because that would be pretty terrible.
That's my concern.
And if we're in range of their artillery or ballistae or anything like that they could hit us
the
with.
Don't love
government's
that.
Using magic that they've outlawed for everyone else, but they themselves might have access to something.
And Shay, you have met Euthelius, one of the harbingers of the Church of Six. They certainly have access to magic users, although not framed as such.
That guy's an ass face.
I don't think it's worth the risk. I think we should go around.
Same.
We just put the fire out on the ship.
You guys can still smell smoke, yeah.
I mean, I know it's an extra day, but I think I'd trade a day than also angering the entire kingdom, Sarentil, and having to deal with them as well as everything else we're dealing with.
For me, it's more about if we lose the ship, then nothing's getting recovered. Zystris is not getting defeated. Nothing happens if we lose the ship.
Horses are a bit slower.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just I'm thinking for a minute, so I'm just kind of you keep
He's
talking. I'm
flash
just kind of
geniusing himself.
looking at it, kind of going to the edge of the ship and just kind of
25,
looking
30,
out.
35.
Thing.
That's really all Limitless was. Because Bradley Cooper is just an artificer flash of
Yeah.
genius again
Yeah.
and again. 18 steps ahead.
How are the wind chimes? Did they survive?
Unfortunately.
Thank
It's
God.
almost like they seem louder. It's like this demon, one extra little curse as a parting gift. They're just echo a little louder. Maybe it's your imagination, but yeah, they're there. I'll actually, you know what? I'll make some this week and I'll see if I can add them onto the ship.
Great.
Yeah, I don't have any illusion magic that I can use to try and disguise the ship.
I have a pretty cool illusion spell now, but I don't think it's powerful enough for any sort of disguise. Silent image. It's not big enough, and probably wouldn't last long enough.
Can't do the whole ship, huh?
Do the whole ship.
If I had.
But there's a ship floating on a tiny little cloud up there. No, it's just a tiny cloud shaped like a ship. One insight.
I really don't like the idea of spending more time when we could go faster, but if we get caught, then that could take even longer. Is it a risk we should take?
My pledge a vote. Or 5.
Gunter's kind of, or not Gunter. Jeez, Talon's kind of right. I feel like Oakfeld is rubbing off on you a little bit. You're self-dialoguing off at the corner now.
Yeah, let's vote then.
Meet him again, but on the opposite
Did I
end.
meet Euthelius?
You did not.
I did not. Gunter met Euthelius.
Gunter did twice.
No, we were in.
You were in
Oh, I was
Squall
in the Gated Marsh,
That
right?
was the
Or
very
not the
end.
Gated Marsh. I was in Pendleton. Was he in or near Pendleton? Thousand Gates.
You guys met him 3 times.
Right.
Port Quinn, Thousand Gates, and Squall's End. In that order.
Right. So I guess maybe did I meet him in Squall's End, or was I still Gunter at
I
that
think
point?
you were still Gunter.
Yeah, because that was very close to when he died.
Yeah, he died in 1000 Gates. You guys
Yeah.
went from Squall's End somewhere else than there. So
Yeah. Okay.
you have not met him, I don't believe.
Okay. I think we should put it to a vote.
I vote
What?
the long way.
Oh, a vote. Yeah. Long way also.
I believe we should go whichever way the wind takes us.
Okay.
So undecided, or
Eleanor's going to start piloting the ship, going the long way.
That's true. You are the captain.
I am the captain.
You're the only one who knows how to steer, so we're going whatever way you want to go.
for the record, I vote short way.
No, it
The
isn't.
lone vote. You bank the ship around, heading a
Just
little
gonna,
bit
like,
more north, almost kind of retracing your
shoulders
steps a little bit,
slumped,
but edging
looking
to
over
the
the
east
edge,
instead of the
just like-
west.
Aw.
Back to my brooding.
Do we have any of that wine left?
Yeah.
I pass it over to Akka.
There you
go.
Okay. So,
Drink it.
Sure.
you all begin this journey way off into the west. You passed Dungannon at a certain point, but already you're beginning to see the foothills of the Sunjoker chain begin to rise up below you. Here and there, as you do travel, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, with the sunlight still overhead, you can see the undead. Here and there, one or two staggering across the field. Here and there, you see bodies. Whether they're living or undead, hard to tell from this distance, but laying motionless for the time. Who is keeping a lookout on this time?
I'm like, the whole time I'm just like looking over the edge of
Make
the
a
deck,
perception
kind of
check.
gazing out, keeping watch, but really like deep in thought about life and existence.
Sure.
Hmm.
That's what it is.
The hand I've been dealt, or lack of hand I've been
I was
dealt.
gonna say, literally.
What is it? Perception?
Yeah.
It's 14 plus whatever my modifier is, which is 7, I think. My perception. Yeah, 21.
21. You look down, kind of watching as you travel. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and now in front of you, the mountains of the Sunchoker chain loom up. Compared to Squall's End, these are tiny. Still truly mountains, but compared to any of the range of the Alum Flamare, I want to say, these are relatively small. Hills for you. But still, being this high up, every now and then you can see beneath you birds flying. There is a freedom to being in the air. Given where you are, Shay, something that you know, which very few humans are aware of, very few people outside the Aarakocra are aware of. To the north, you won't be able to see it from here, but were you to head a little further north, one of the sanctuaries of the Aarakocra, hidden high out of sight, out of range for those without wings. Not too far away. But you bank further and further, and now find yourself passing between mountains. At this point, it is about 7 o'clock. You can see in the distance the sun beginning to set, and maybe 3 hours from now, you're going to begin to look at exhaustion.
So, I don't love piloting through mountains in the dark. Should we,
I love that.
should we find a place to set down?
If that's what you think is best, absolutely.
Nothing else we can do.
Whoever wants to, go ahead and make a survival check as you begin to look around for good places to camp. Eleanor, you bring the ship a little bit lower so people can see.
19.
19?
10.
Okay. 16, great.
My heart's not in that one. I'm still just looking out over the vastness.
19.
So Aka's like, fucking anywhere. There. He's like just gesturing off to the side. You look, it's a mountain.
Just bring it down
Yeah,
wherever.
let's bring it down. You all kind of look oak-felt. Even at this height, the forest beneath you has all of its own voices. You hear, maybe not directions, but for you, you see and experience this landscape in a vivid way that others do not. And you listen for the... The timing of that was so good. Oh, man. I really hope that picked up on microphone.
This hissing sound.
You listen for the places where you don't hear those voices. And even as the shadows grow much longer, you hear a place of relative quiet. You hear water. And the voices around almost saying, come, rest. You see Oakfeld, Eleanor, just gestured down and point, and as you follow the long arm, you're not still a tree, are you?
I'm probably a tree. I think I'm
Just
a red maple.
Okay.
Casually a tree.
Eight
On
foot long.
Classically casually a tree.
How tall are you right now? 8 feet tall?
I'm
I
picturing
think I'm
a
like
tree
9.5.
sitting. So it's
It's like a 4 foot
bent.
long arm stretches way out. You hear like that. And then points,
Sitting,
you
like,
follow this
cross-legged on the
finger. You see like a tiny little pond, a bit of a clearing, a couple rocks kind of propped up. It'll be a tight space to land. You don't want to land on the pond, smaller than the ship. But you could certainly land there. The rocks will provide cover. You can see an element that kind of overcast. And looking up, you can see there are a few clouds now coming in. Maybe it will rain tonight, maybe not. But that would provide shelter. There's fresh water. The trees hug close together and make this feel like a relatively secure place.
amazing.
I'll give it a try to land there. Unless anyone
Survival.
sees anything better. But let's go.
Go ahead and make a check. This is a little bit of a tight landing. This is parallel parking a flying ship.
It's fine. I have reliable talent. It'll be fine. I'll just do that off the thing. It's fine. That was reliable talent. Okay, so would it just be the straight roll plus proficiency then?
Yeah.
So that would be a 19.
19. Okay. You swoop over this area, kind of trying to find a place that will be long enough for you to make a graceful landing. Not finding one. You settle for a landing. All of you, you brace against everybody kind of recognizing the signs. Generally, when it's a soft landing, the heading of the ship doesn't change. As soon as you feel the ship tilt, you're like, oh, it's got to be one of those. You buckle your legs and suddenly into the dirt. It throws out in front of you, but you come to a stop, not hitting any trees. You see behind you the water begin to like trickle into this divot that you've left, the pond draining slightly, but you have landed.
As good as it's gonna get. We'll make camp.
I'm gonna hop down and start setting up a little tent and stuff.
There you go.
And then I'm gonna use prestidigitation to make a campfire.
So you set up your tent, and then
Paint it.
you take out your wand/brush, and as you flick once and flick twice, you see these illusionary paintings of flames, which suddenly to life.
It's like the Kirby 64 painter guy. I don't know, that's pretty dated.
That's wow.
You know what
That
I'm
was-
talking
that was
Magic
a
paint
deep
brush.
cut.
I was
Yeah.
in Mario 64.
Yeah, I
and
never
then
played the
Smash
Kirby.
Brothers.
I played that one. The Magic
Kirby,
Paintbrush.
Kirby and the Crystal Shard, great game.
Kirby was a handheld game.
The new one that came
Not
out. I
sponsored.
heard
Kirby and the
is
Crystal
great.
Shard, great game. I'm that little fucking painter guy.
Love it.
Make a waddle
Fire.
dee.
This fire flares to life, and as now the shadows are growing quite dark, it casts even more in your immediate vicinity. Off the slightly shallower pond now, a good amount of the water draining off into the grass around. You see a few fish, a frog kind of leap out and kind of slowly make its way, hop after hop, off into the forest. Stars come out overhead, clouds partially blocking them, and you can see the moon just a little bit more full than the previous night. It is night. For all of you, what do you want to do? Are you setting up a watch? What is your plan for the evening?
Do we have food?
Aka, you go beneath the deck. There is nothing there.
I'm gonna go catch some of these fish.
Okay. But an interesting point, you all had supplies when you had left. This devil, or otherwise maybe some other scavenger, has removed them. There's no food aboard the ship. But Aka, you kind of look down and you're like, all right, that makes sense.
I've had to tough it before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you go out, you hold out your new mechanical arm, Inspector Gadget style, this blade out, and you just kind of like tie a rope around the base of it. So you have this very dangerous fishing pole. But yeah,
I think I
you
have
fish.
fishing line actually.
Yeah, you have the line.
I think I might have. No, I don't have it anymore. I have I don't know why, but I have like 16 hand axes in my inventory.
Nice.
That's
That's
not
too many hand axes.
That's not a thing that I did, but I have like.
I don't think you have
Look at
16
this.
hand
No, look at
axes.
this though. Look,
I mean, I
You
don't.
get a
hand axes.
I don't
You
disbelieve
get a
that they're
hand
on there.
I think
just
that's a
think that that's
glitch.
Yeah.
I just start throwing hand axes at all the fish.
Eventually, there's just so many hand axes in the pond. There's no water left for the fish. They're just like floating on top of the hand axes.
And they're all nicely cut like sushi.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
Hibachi
Okay.
tonight.
Can I do some like foraging as well while he fishes? I'm sorry.
Make
he
a
wasn't done
both of you
moving.
make a survival check.
I'm
Yeah.
fishing.
You
It's,
go out, kind of
that's
looking
it.
around the edge of the woods. You begin to fish.
17.
17.
I think I would probably do like more spear fishing kind of.
Make an attack roll. With your sword. I love that.
Yeah, just like,
As you go around the edge of this place, it's a forest. You haven't been really in forest. You're used to the Underdark. And so a little weird. And for you, you keep looking up these stars, the sky so big and vast above you. It is not the comforting hug of the earth around you. And that, you always feel like you have to be checking up. In the Underdark, when there is something above you, that is a place to be ambushed. And so constantly you're looking in the trees. And at one point you hear them with like an owl. And you're like, whoa. And you just get real distracted by that. But with the 17 kind of going up over to where it is, this owl needs to have food somewhere nearby. You begin to look a little bit closer and you find a little bush with berries that seem to be relatively edible. You have to peel the outside and it's like a lot of work for one little bite, but they're good.
Okay.
murdered the fuck out of those fish.
Did you roll?
29.
29. Aka, you go up to this thing and just eviscerate like 3
I
fish.
figure I'd like it's a piercing weapon, so I'm gonna like
Sure.
pierce at them.
So,
Stake.
Aka, you kind of get a low, good, stable
Yeah,
center
like
of gravity.
Watch for it and then
Yeah, no problem. You pull out.
the
It looks
grabbies.
like a pretty fat
Grabbies.
little catfish.
Okay.
You can see like modeled on the top, big eyes, the mouth like gaping a couple times before it just goes still.
Okay. Is it enough to feed everyone?
It's enough to no. This is one fish, but
We
take
do
a
a
little bit of
couple more.
time. They're like it's literally a very small pond
Yeah.
at this point.
I'm taking all the fish from this pond.
Yeah, this is like a massacre. You end up with 5 fish, really just desiccating the entire population
Great.
of the pond.
Great.
But yeah, you have fish.
I'm
Bring them
gonna
over to the fire.
set them up on like a little, make like a little grill kind of thing.
Okay, great.
A spit, and then sticks like this, spit through all the fish.
Yeah, and they're on like a little grill,
on like a
and that thing is
rotisserie
going
kind of
down.
thing.
Sure,
No,
sure,
like on the
sure.
rotisserie, spit
Yeah,
through.
yeah. Okay, so
Classic
it
fish.
takes you like an hour to do all this. You get it all set up. You have to do all these different things. But after that period of time, you have fish kind of slowly. You're turning it, rotating it over the fire. It smells pretty good.
It's been a while since I had to
Actually,
cook and camp out like that.
You guys had somebody who had a magic plate that summoned
Yeah.
feasts. Yeah, that's a loss.
Prior to that, it was like I just eat like
Shitty rations.
fucking shitty rations
Yeah.
and berries, and I hunt for fish.
Level 15 is the level for good food.
Pine cones sometimes.
The wanderer feet. I might have them.
Wood,
Yeah.
fiber. It's
Yeah.
important.
Hold on.
I'm gonna turn into.
I just
a,
remembered that I have the wanderer feet, which means I can find food and water for all of us.
No.
So after
Sorry,
Hey, I
guys.
found some fish.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you walk over to the fire. And you're like, I found it.
It's one of the. It's like the background feet. No one ever remembers about the background feet.
Yeah, there's a few things that are like really important, like remembering if you know thieves' cant is a good one.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, absolutely. So no problem. You gather up some berries. You find some little what look like almost like mustard greens, and so pulling those out, that's great.
Salad.
You even find a
fish.
couple wild carrots, really skinny, kind of purpley things, but you pull those out as well. You end up with a couple different vegetables, a berry, that could be your dessert, and then you have this fish. All in all, over the course of the next hour, the smells intermingle, and it is not ornate, it is not this opulent food, but there is something enriching about catching your own food, cooking it, and foraging everything for your meal. As you guys eat, the very basic, this is filling. And in this space with these stars overhead, some of you still bleeding a little bit, you have a moment to breathe. But just a moment.
Dabbing.
Like Do you need some help?
We'll stop eventually.
And then
Just
she
like-
says that you see like it spreads a little further.
Cure wounds.
Excellent. Go take the paintbrush and you make a little glyph. And as that glyph floats across the air and touches you, it is just like a gentle caress. And suddenly you feel the bleeding stop. And though that cut is still there, it's deep, it is no longer oozing openly. How much healing is that?
That is a D8 plus 5.
There you go. I think you roll the
Oh,
healing.
I roll it.
I'm not casting the
I
spell.
don't know. 10.
There you go.
Nice.
Nice.
Thank you.
Very nice.
So, it gets darker. It gets later. What are you all doing for the night? Anybody keeping watch? Do you guys just want to...
I mean, I have
think we
my
should
4-hour
set up a
meditation, and I would probably just be keeping watch.
Do rotational launch.
If someone can just 4 hours, that's all I need, and then I can.
Probably just like split it up, right?
I'll be up anyway. Just 4 hours.
Okay. I meant the other 4 hours.
Okay.
We can split up watch. So, I don't mind staying up.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. The two of you stay
got
up
it.
first.
I'm just gonna start meditating.
Trancing,
Okay.
trancing away.
You close your eyes almost instantly.
Still
fall
probably
into this
sitting
trance-like
next to the
state.
fire, just kind of like finish the fish, and then just kind of like.
Still holding the stick in one hand, just like, yeah. Powered down.
Doze off.
Goodbye.
Beep boop beep.
That's the other campaign.
I take out my USB,
Yeah.
plug it into charge.
Ding ding. So, the rest of you find sleep. Brenna and Eleanor, please make perception checks. Take first watch.
11.
24.
Nice. It's an 11. Wow. You get ready. We're going to stay up tonight. You're going to help out. You see Eleanor keeping watch. And you're like, wow, Eleanor is so good at keeping concentrated. You're just lost at this point. You see it. You can see it has a baby with it. You're like, oh my god. You're like checking it out. You've never seen it all before. It's like staring at you. It's a little unnerving. But for you, Eleanor, the only person actually on watch, it's not a quiet night. All around, you hear wildlife. Having been underground and in the cities for some time, it's been a little bit since you have all been in this kind of a condition. And it is a bit unnerving at first. You hear the crack of branches off in the woods. You hear this creepy owl hooting in the distance, although Brenna seems quite fascinated with it. Way off in the distance, somewhere overhead, you can swear that you hear a roar from the sky. You listen again. 5 minutes goes by, you hear when you hear giggling, but you don't hear that roar again.
Oh,
Am I the one giggling?
Yes.
Okay.
It is the giggles of Brenna who is enthused by this owl.
Eleanor.
You're like, yeah, yeah.
It's an
You're just
owl.
looking up
They
in the
have
sky.
them here.
She's got like.
I've only ever seen them in books. You grew up as like a God, what is the Little Mermaid, where you're just
Oh, yes.
looking at all these things and misinterpreting what they are.
is that a floof?
It's a dingle hopper. Those 4 hours pass without any more issue. You keep listening, you keep watching, but you don't see anything. Aka, you come to out of your meditation. You can see Brenna like staring off into the woods. You see Eleanor just kind of keeping an eye.
Probably like go over and get some rest.
Oh, that went by really fast. Okay, good night.
Yeah, it was a great night. And Brenna, like, not a thought in her mind, just, oh, God, no anxiety whatsoever.
Aka loves Brenna.
Brenna is not somebody
She's the
who,
only
like,
one.
stays awake at night, like, really thinking about, like, you know, these deep, like, oh my God, like, what is my purpose in life? Brenna knows her purpose. She just goes to sleep. That's no problem.
She smashed.
I wish I could be like you.
So, I thought I heard a roar.
What
But I'm not
kind of
sure.
roar?
A roar from Then she like vaguely gestured towards the sky where she thinks she heard it from. Over there somewhere. But
Well, dragonkind is back in the world. Could be a dragon, could be any number of other beasts in this area. I'm not super versed in
I know more
the
about
wildlife
ocean than I
around
do
here,
about
but like, do I know roughly what kind of animals would be in this area naturally
Make a
occurring?
nature check. Oakfeld, make a wisdom saving throw,
God
and as
damn
you're
it,
sleeping,
you.
at disadvantage. please.
God damn it, you!
At disadvantage?
Yeah.
3 and
That
19.
Great.
nature was 18.
With an 18. Let me see here. So, there is an interesting thing about this forest. You are very close to an area rumored. Well, you've never been to the Sunjoker chain and kind of traveled through it, but because of the denseness of the mountains, the thickness of the forests, it is rumored that there are creatures here from long ago. The Goliath make their home here. You, being from the Madrak, have heard of this place. The Goliath and the Somber Cape, who were relocated to Nocturne, not connected to the tribes in the north, but they talk about them. These are the Goliath who are traditional. This is old school,
Right.
shamanistic magic, not wiped out by the Somber Crusade.
Keeping the giants, like, tradition alive.
Yes.
Okay.
And there, things like Tyrannosaurus Rex are not just pictures in a book.
So, like,
There are many options.
could be a number of things.
It's like, alright, you gonna be alright? You can watch alone, or should I wake someone else up?
I'll be fine.
No, she's gonna head to bed.
Akka, make a perception check.
Time to brood.
One.
I was
Intense
like
brooding.
all excited,
been
but he's like,
4
oh, it's such a
hours.
good brooding time. He's like
4
so
hours.
happy about it.
Oh, perfect brooding spot.
Oh, ideal.
Perception check. That is a 26.
Okay. Akka. As you take over the watch, it becomes 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. You see clouds passing overhead and the stars shift. Their eternal dance in the sky, just passing. You don't hear a roar. But in the distance of the woods, you do see something green and glowing. So faint at first, it's almost impossible to make out. But it's an eye. A single eye, a small creature, hunched over, kind of like located in the middle of its face. This green creature seems to be looking at your entire group, particularly Shay.
How far away is it?
Maybe 80 feet. But as you notice it, you see this eye shift to you, and in your mind you hear a voice. Still not yet. Disappears.
I'm gonna try to go to the spot 80 feet to see where.
Sure.
Yeah.
You jog over, your armor not making too much noise, being the infiltrator weave.
Yeah, I'll probably fly.
Okay.
Hover, like
You hover,
float across.
fly over to this place. Looking around, you see singed grass, burned earth. Make an investigation check.
13.
Okay. With a 13, within the cinder and ash, as you kind of scrape through, you make kind of a mess of the situation. And though you could swear you maybe saw sigils or glyphs, as you shift your fingers through, you find nothing.
The language that it spoke in my mind, was it common?
What languages do you speak?
Common, Draconic, Dwarvish, Elvish, Infernal. Used to speak Giant.
That would be Elvish.
Okay. And I didn't see anything of this besides the green eye.
In the illumination of the green eye, you saw this creature small, smaller than Brenna. You saw the skin, certainly skin, but leathery in ways, green, mottled, and hunched over. You saw maybe a few spikes or spines, but hard to see its full figure.
All right. probably would be more on guard.
Okay.
I'm not gonna immediately wake everyone, but I'm like on guard myself, ready to alarm everyone or alert everyone to any presence, and thinking like, not ready yet for what?
You think on that for an hour, and then 2, and then you notice the sun begin to rise. First the grays of dawn, and then you see the sun very quickly burning through the last remaining elements of clouds. This will be a sunny day. And as the sun rises and all of you wake, because it is 11:38 and a good place to end for the evening, that is what we are going to do. But all of you survived an attack with the devil. That is good. Eleanor, you got, first of all, Brenna saving Eleanor in that moment, that was spectacular. That was going to be a rough fall. Because also, if you hadn't done that, he was going to keep chucking people off.
Damn.
He didn't really know who could fly. He knew that you could. But he was just going to start throwing people off and seeing what stuck.
After that first one, I was like, I think every turn of mine is going to be going and flying and saving somebody else.
All I do is fly and save. Anyways, thank you so much for hanging out with us for Adventures in Alberon, session 104. Next week, I don't believe we're going to be having Adventures in Alberon, session 105. Instead, we'll be doing a one-shot of some kind. Look at Instagram sometime on Sunday for more details about that. However, Starfinder, and particularly Mosaic Team 5, Session 7, will be next Thursday. Matt, unfortunately, seems to be missing this session, which is unfortunate as it's going to be the first space combat.
We make
And
a
you
whole
will not have your
character
pilot.
about fucking space combat pilot man.
Gibbs can pilot.
Yeah, Gibbs is
Pilot.
so good.
Gibbs,
at pilot.
Gibbs can.
Yeah, Gibbs made her entire character about piloting.
But she's got the pilot gumption.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Oh yeah.
thank you for hanging out with us for Adventures in Alberon. Stay safe out there. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.